Meteorologist Casey Cloud back with you here on this Sunday afternoon from the Weather Center. A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued there toward the Big Bend region and towards southwest, south central Georgia. Here you see Bainbridge about to be getting into some pretty nasty weather in Decatur County. You see Gadsden County getting into some of the parts of the southern Gadsden. A little bit of Liberty there, but in Leon, Tallahassee can be getting this here through about 3 o'clock. So just giving you guys a heads up there. I'm looking at different things this morning going here until the top of the hour for Gadsden County, northeastern Liberty, western Leon, Decatur, southwestern Grady, and central Seminole counties. So again, watching things across the Big Bend, southwest Georgia, and eventually into south central. I know it kind of Grady, they're calling it southwest. It's kind of on the edge between southwest and south central. I know Thomas County more south central, but nonetheless, the nomenclature doesn't matter too much here. We do need to just go ahead and get folks inside and away from windows. Tallahassee there. Also over toward Florida State University, Tallahassee Community College, Quincy, Havana, Bainbridge, Midway, FAMU, Doak Campbell Stadium, Greensboro, West Bainbridge, Chattahoochee, Gretna, Climax, Lake Bradford. Just got to be careful out here toward the Big Bend region. By the way, something else interesting, I just noticed that Kansas heat advisory toward the Jacksonville area, even though it's still pretty warm, we had the storms come through so early. We did drop off the numbers some at least, but we're already, I was looking here behind me a moment ago. Just doing it again. We're back up to 87 degrees here east of Stark. We just had some storm minutes earlier on, so. And as we look toward Tallahassee, we had some storms in the Big Bend this morning. I look at the temperatures there toward Tallahassee, they're at 91 degrees. I know certain spots different magnitudes of it, but nonetheless, it's just kind of interesting to see as we're watching some of our different numbers here. And actually, as you look there, it looks like, I guess that number just updated, not 91, but 83 degrees there toward Tallahassee. So I may have just been something there. I was trying to grab a number from earlier on, but nonetheless, 83 degrees. And as I added up, I must have been a number from when we had it up before, but 83 degrees in the region. Still pretty warm in Tallahassee, though, nonetheless. So, again, some nasty storming is moving on through. That wind really looking to build there now, as it's in southern Gadsden County. That looks like it's strengthening as it's getting closer to the radar. A lot of times we'll see that kind of dip and dive down a little bit weaker in terms of those velocity pixels. But, again, just going to continue to watch things here. In the Weather Center. I know we're still getting reports from the Jacksonville storm as we were on for earlier on. A tree down in the backyard of a home there in Duval County off of West 2nd Street around 12:45. So some nasty, nasty conditions here for sure that we're having to follow. Just continuing to give you guys the very latest here. Continuing to give you guys the very latest to protect you, your friends, and your family. Just trying to see all the different data that's coming on in here in the Weather Center. So again, we're just going to continue to watch. You see it going out even. This is headed right for Tallahassee here. That's what we're concerned of. These pixels here are looking pretty nasty, maybe nastier than what we saw last night come on through. We just wanted to, even though they're not quite just severe in terms of 58 still up in these numbers, and we're not getting any verification yet with this head right for town with what happened last night, with what happened this afternoon. I feel like this has a good chance of verifying with this going out like this. It's headed right for town. So again, can't lay your guard down here, even if you're just on the edge of things here, just outside or just in. You got to be taking this seriously. I was starting to go ahead and get inside here, especially if I'm within 30 minutes of it, which is right here. But anybody around Tallahassee, it might not be a bad idea to start taking things inside if it's going to take you a while. Because this is headed for town. It looks like with dangerous lightning, heavy downpours, and then maybe damaging wind gusts, maybe tinier hail here at this point. Not too big in terms of the hail sizes. They're not even mentioning that here. It'd be at least under 3/4 of an inch at this point, but still. You got other threats here, the wind, the downpours, the lightning. Just got to be taking this seriously around Tallahassee. You don't see any rotation, Roy, which is good, obviously. At this time of year, you don't get that as much. You have these really strong winds moving towards areas like Northfleet and downtown Tallahassee. This is headed right for town. If it holds together, it's going to be a little while. Let's put a new track on this. You want to even track a little further out, but since this is going to be a minute behind, that's just how radar works. But that's 15 minutes there to now your latest assessment here. We kind of zoom out just a little, trying to get my bearing. It must be right on the line there. We take off our warnings. I'm having, yeah, right there. It's kind of putting in, mixing in, whatever you want to call it there on Tallahassee. But that's 30 minutes right there. So again, this is coming on into town. So again, some nasty, nasty conditions here in Leon County over the next little bit. Going to be the story, it looks like. We're seeing pixels to 52 miles an hour in here. So that's kind of your storyline right now. I know toward the interstate, you may have some gusty winds, but maybe not quite as strong there. I know the velocity doesn't help perfect sometimes. But it can give you a good idea on what's going on. It's not perfect, but it gives you a good generalization here of what's happening. So, again, looking here at the Doppler radar, 50-mile-an-hour winds here, moving toward Tallahassee. We're just going to keep looking at it. We have other storms around, not severe. You see some stuff up in Early and Miller counties in southwestern Georgia. You don't have too many other advisories here for a while, but then you have to go down here and you see some toward Putnam, Marion, Flagler, and even out of the area there in Volusia. You're looking way high up on the radar to see that. But again, looking back out toward the west here, we're really low down, only 1,000 feet up, and we're seeing the winds to 50. So these are headed for town. So we had storms last night. These could be similar, if not a little bit stronger than what we had last night. Probably would be, at this point, I would go a little stronger for Tallahassee here. So make sure, if you haven't already, we have a little bit of time still in Tallahassee. So make sure, if you haven't already, have those devices charged up just in case you lose power for a bit. Not everybody's going to lose it. Most people won't, but a few folks probably will in toward Tallahassee. So, again, some nastier conditions about it moving on through here over the next little bit from this area here. We have the storminess around Bainbridge. Let's not forget about Bainbridge. I know we talked about that in the description. You don't see the winds as strong in this mode, but it could just be the angle here. These winds could still be at 60 possibly in here. Not completely out of the question. So, again, let's just go ahead and continue to watch things up there as well in Decatur County. We're just going to keep looking at that, of course, just for perspective's sake here, Roy. We're back out in Bradford County, the northeast, the highlighted county on the map. We cover 62 counties here. Whenever there's a tornado warning storm moving through, we're always on the different platforms. At first, it was just one or another. We didn't have to wait a multi-stream, but now there's a tornado warning on play. We're always live. Facebook, TC Cloud WX, Facebook Cloud Weather. I'm trying to get that right here, folks. We've been talking too long today, so let's try that again. So Facebook Clouds Weather, try to pronounce that right here. Twitter at Cloud Casey, and then you have YouTube at Cloud Weather, and then you have Twitch there, Cloud Weather. So again, we're gonna go ahead and just continue to watch things here in the Weather Center. I'll give you guys the very latest here on what's going on. Of course, tornado warning storms are on for, but some thunderstorm warning situations, flash flooding situations, whenever we feel that a more escalated threat we're on as well on all the different platforms. So again, we're just gonna continue to watch things here in the Weather Center. Let's go ahead and looks like we're losing just a few frames here on our live coverage, which is kind of unusual. I don't think it probably affected you guys too much out there because we're watching with this the screen on the coverage map. But nonetheless, it's got to be here to keep you guys safe and informed. We're on whenever we need to be. If we're not having to come on for warnings like this, we're posting about on Facebook, Casey Cloud WX, Facebook Cloud Weather, and then we have Twitter at Cloud Casey. So again, going ahead and giving you guys the latest here. We're just watching this Doppler perspective here. We're watching this situation as it does progress on us here. Let me see if there's any questions. If there's any questions, I don't see anything to this point. But again, just thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for trusting me here on this Sunday afternoon here from the Weather Center. So Yeah, let's just go ahead and keep looking here at our different scans. The 18-mile-an-hour gust, that was at 108 earlier on. Right now, I mean, you see some of that wind enhancement here. These winds not that high off the ground, 600, 700 feet, 40, 50 miles an hour here, coming in toward town. So that's 15 minutes, and I need to practice a little bit more on the leading edge. 15 minutes. It's going to be right into the intersection. It looks like State Road 20, Florida 20, and Florida 263. So between 15 and 30 minutes is when it's going to really be coming through town now. So that's about 2:45 here. That's 3 o'clock. So 2:45 to 3 is when Tallahassee's going to get this pretty strong here in terms of inclement conditions. So I know this doesn't look all that aggressive, but I know the scans last night, it depends on angles too, but I know last night the winds I don't think were quite as strong a velocity like this. They were coming on in, at least as it got real close, but we didn't have enough to justify coming on. But between what we had last night, this here now looking a little bit stronger. What we had to the east here, really producing a lot of wind over 60. We don't want to take any chances, at least as this gets to Tallahassee. We'll reevaluate after that. It's a situation where there's a chance, even if we have some more warning, just if we're not getting a lot in Tallahassee, it might wrap it up and just kind of give you the heads up, post about stuff, or just give you the heads up verbally here before we wrap it up, before more warnings are not issued here downstream. But again, just trying to give you guys the very latest here. So you can see, looking there off toward the west of Tallahassee, as we've been on here for a bit, trying to give you the latest between this stream and the other. You can kind of see what we're doing with about 40, 50 mile an hour's worth of gust here on that. So again, the storyline here that we're following. Let me see what our power outage numbers look like right now. Let me go ahead and do our power outage update here and see what those look like. I know we're just trying to see what the storyline is, and Duval County's still a few thousand in the dark, it looks like, give or take. I was doing this earlier looking over GA. That information there. Again, you don't see too high in Bainbridge. I don't know if it's going to be quite as high up there. It's hard to say. The angles can kind of mess you up some. But again, toward Tallahassee, we have to be mindful here of what's going on. Have to be mindful here of what's going on. 40 to 50 miles an hour worth of wind here in terms of gust, at least. Could be 60 though. That's why the warning's in play for 60. But this is not like it's headed away from town, considering everything we've seen here and the path this looks to be on right now. It looks like it's headed right for town. Maybe diving. Let's see here. Let me back this up. Yeah, I want to say I might have a little southerly component, but that could just be an illusion here. The airport needs to be concerned here too. If we haven't already started to be out in that vicinity, so that area of town needs to be concerned here as well. So again, you see the lightning that's coming into town here on a Sunday afternoon. You're trying to relax. You had a long week there, and your week's maybe starting back tomorrow. I know it was a holiday week in there, but still, nonetheless, you're trying to relax here. And a situation here where, unfortunately, this is something you don't want to have happen. That's coming into play here over the next little bit with at least stormy conditions. Maybe it won't be too bad. Many neighborhoods it probably won't be, but a few of them we could have a little bit of escalation here in terms of some stronger winds down to the surface, causing maybe a tree to fall on a power line, things of that sort. So just got to be keeping that in mind here this afternoon. You got to be keeping that in mind here. Let's just continue to watch things. You can see here, looking at the latest track, again, this matches up well. Some of the stuff earlier didn't. So it'll be interesting to see what numbers we get out of this as it gets toward the airport. But we just are kind of intrigued here by watching the signature on the Doppler. We'll just have to keep tracking things in toward town. Tracking along, say, Road 20 here in some regard to this point. So again, let's just go ahead and keep looking at things. Keep monitoring them. Let me go ahead and see what we have here. Bear with me. You can kind of see our viewpoint You see, not too much going on in the north central Florida outside of Marion County right now. Could get some of this to come on in later. We have the instability, and I see they're giving us an update on the warning, but there's your instability. We'll have to watch and see. Hopefully we'll get lucky and this won't hold together, but there's always that chance it could hold together through a good bit of our area here. I mean, hopefully maybe if it holds together, but just under severe, won't have to stay on for a while. But we'll see. I know different situations here across our area, even across the country. We're seeing a bunch of flooding award areas in Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, even North Carolina here today, seeing considerable flash flood warnings in play. We'll watch those. If we get a flash flood emergency while we're on, we'll definitely point that out. Hopefully we don't get to that level, but moderate risk of flooding up there. By the way, it's a bit thunderstorm warning there for Leon, Gadsden, Decatur, and gradient of 3, but it is canceled out. Liberty and Seminole. So again, the latest update then on this is that as of about 2:31, severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from Bainbridge to 10 miles north of Havana to 10 miles southwest of Tallahassee Community College, wind east at 40 miles an hour. So Tallahassee, Florida State University, Bainbridge, Midway, Tallahassee Community College, Quincy, Havana, FAMU, Wiggum, West Bainbridge, Doak Campbell Stadium, Gretna, Lake Bradford, as well as Leon Sinks, the Gaither Community Center, Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. They're all included here under this warning. So, again, gotta be careful with what's going on. We're just gonna keep tracking things here on our scans with the very latest. Let's get back on over here to our other view. You can see Tallahassee here with brighter colors coming in terms of velocities now. These are moving pretty quickly here, as we've outlined over the last few moments. Even if we don't get 60 gusts, I mean, we talked about this before too. I mean, we've not got them last night. We can still have some damage here as this comes right through town here. Again, trying to give you guys the estimates on what's going on. You can see 52 miles an hour on the gust number right now. As I'm looking, you can't see that, but if you look at the color table, you can kind of correlate that, and I'm seeing it on my indicator here, bottom of my screen. But you can see here around, again, State Road 20 is coming into town here. Again, Tallahassee, within about 15 minutes now. It's time, if you're in Tallahassee proper, to get inside, get away from windows here. You don't want to mess around. Hopefully this won't be as bad as what we saw with a higher number of gusts in that severe rains like toward Jacksonville earlier. But this is going to have more of the rain as this here with the wind. See, if the numbers are a little lower, maybe a little more sustained type of wind in a way. I mean, in terms of some of the readings that we get. So maybe if they're not quite as strong, even they could still, in theory, do a little bit more damage in some ways because the power outage numbers didn't correlate the wind quite as much as the west. And if this kind of sits there and kind of pushes that wind down, the heavier downpour just set up here, it could be a little bit more dangerous here for Tallahassee. And you have the trees. I mean, we saw it, unfortunately. Thinking back here, I mean, some of them, unfortunately or fortunately at this point, because, I mean, they're out of the picture now, but they failed to earn her means. So, back in 2016. So, we have a situation here where Tallahassee has a lot of trees, but some of the ones that were vulnerable that have been there for a while that were really immune here at that point beforehand, and the conditions said maybe not coming down, and they became apt to coming down during that storminess. They're out of the picture. You're not worried about those, but then you still have some that this wind here, even if it's not as strong as something like that, it probably winds in most communities won't be as strong, not as sustained, obviously, as that. But as we're looking here in this type of setup, but we're talking about a situation still with a big gust of wind. You could still get a few of them to fall. So I'm talking about area wide, Tallahassee wide, maybe a few total. But you just got to be careful here. Got to be careful in this type of setup. We're going to go ahead and zoom back out. So you see southern McCulloch, Franklin County here. You see some wind there. Don't see an advisory, but maybe winds about 35 possible down there in northeastern Franklin County. We see around Perry and Taylor County. We're seeing some winds there. I know, we're just checking some different modes here. I'm just going to go ahead and keep on tracking things here for you. See what we got. Again, we have this warning until 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock here for parts of Gadsden, Leon, Decatur, and Grady counties. 60-mile-an-hour gust of possibility. Tallahassee, Florida State University, Bainbridge, Midway, Tallahassee Community College, Quincy, Havana, FAMU, Wiggum, West Bainbridge, Doak Campbell Stadium, Gretna, Attapulgis, Climax, Lake Bradford, Leon Sinks, over toward Douglas City, the Gaither Community Center, Tallahassee Memorial Hospital, and Florence. So again, we're still watching things very carefully here. This is coming into town, getting closer. Hopefully we'll get lucky, but you can't take chances here. These are winds at only 500 feet. They're like 45, which I know it sounds like, okay, maybe they're not to 60 down to the surface. Well, you never know, but even if at 45, 50, 55 miles an hour, those type of winds, those could be prone to knocking down some trees, or at least tree limbs on the power lines here in a few spots. It's coming right into town. It's not, I mean, I know we've had stuff up toward the Killarn area here over the months and years here. And this year, I mean, you can get stuff like this in Tallahassee, but coming right for town. So this is on a Sunday afternoon. That's where a lot of people are. And we don't be outside right now. That's probably you're more at risk here. Most at risk, really, if you're outside. You don't want to be outside right now in Tallahassee. We've been able to give you a good lead up to this. I mean, sometimes it's not like that. You just get to develop right over town. So, or really just kind of, wow, we've had a good lead time on this warning here for Tallahassee. We've already been with you over 20 minutes, it looks like here. Getting this stream going, and on the technical side of things, it's probably on air about 20, but again, just continuing to watch things here, and that's a good lead time really for Tallahassee. We even waited a couple minutes just to get our thoughts together here, since we were just on it. You heads up earlier. I mean, we talked about it earlier even, the threat that was going to evolve here for Tallahassee. So you've had time to get inside there and away from windows, and that time is running short now around Tallahassee. Again, we'll go ahead and zoom back out a little bit, and just continue to give you the latest here. Continue to give you the latest. Again, whenever thunder roars, go indoors, obviously. I see exceptions to the sturdy building, and stay away from windows in this type of setup. So, very important things to keep in mind. I see Marion County there. I see a new storm advisory per se out there. See it on the edge of the radar. I mean, way out there, you can still see it all the way from Tallahassee radar a little bit, but that's looking pretty high up for sure in this type of setup. So, again, just continuing to give you guys the latest. These winds, again, they may not be that impressive here in a lot of neighborhoods. Excuse me, I apologize, but they may not be as impressive in a lot of neighborhoods, but a few spots could get pretty strong gusts here around Tallahassee over the next little bit. So something to keep in mind, something to be monitoring here for sure. And we're going to do that with you guys here in the Weather Center as long as this warning's in play pretty much, at least until 3 o'clock. I mean, we'll see if new ones needed here at that point, but probably at least stick with this through town. I mean, this, based on the time and the geography here, that's what it would suggest to make the most sense. Again, watching things here, I see 2:45 to 3, and that looks about on target here for Tallahassee. So the worst of this coming on through downtown at least. So, we just gotta be inside away from windows. Just continuing to give you guys the latest. Checking to see some of our different scans here, some of the stuff you're not as used to seeing. Just helping us out here in the Weather Center. We're just trying to get an idea on what's going on. I mean, it's important here in these type of situations to get a visual on some of the different elements here that we have to track. So, I mean, that correlation coefficient probably not going to show us anything it didn't here. I mean, you'd have to have either a spin up in there, which we're not seeing any time of rotation really, or this time of year you don't generally get rotation. We got a little the other day on a storm, but generally you don't get a rotation in play. And then I said for hail, we don't really have too much of that threat, so you don't see much on there. But Again, it's moving through areas there along State Road 20. We're just going to go ahead and look here. Again, looking at our different outlooks here. Let me see if this needs to be updated. Okay, it looks like it's on par. So 15 minutes has it right here over downtown. So maybe a little slower, but I think we need to track the edge here a little bit more even. So again, that's 15 minutes right there. I know Sunday afternoon folks aren't paying attention as much, so we just want to make sure you guys are getting a heads up here for Tallahassee, Leon County, FXU, FAMU, TCC. Time to go inside it now. You're going to have a lightning threat, a heavy downpour threat. That's, the heavy downpour threat is guaranteed. The lightning threat is likely, and the damaging wind threat would be possible here, I would say, at this point. So, again, that's kind of your storyline here. So, as we're looking toward Tallahassee, we just can't be taking this lightly here. So, Bainbridge, and we had a warning up here, too. We're still keeping it for Decatur. I haven't seen too much out of there. I'm moving into toward Grady next a little bit. Strong storms around areas south of Albany as well. Gust in excess of 40 possible there. Could get some warnings there in that area. It's the Baker, Georgia. If that were to escalate a little bit further. Seeing a little bit of a signature on that. We'll watch. And then this signature, looks like some stuff around Midway. Popping up a little bit more. That's interesting. Back behind. That must be pretty strong then, because get back behind the rain like that there south of Midway now. That's a little bit concerning. So I know we talked about North Tallahassee not getting it too much, but at least toward the interstate corridor there, I-10 corridor, could end up having some gusty winds based on that pixel. Boy, jumping a little bit on us here. I mean, I know that says 48, but I mean, at this point, but the problem with that is that we're back behind, so I feel like this could be getting blocked. So that wind could actually be, that could be where you're having a damaging winds within all this at this point, based on that. Getting that jump, I mean, this is 34. Then to jump to 48, I mean, that's a pretty big escalation here within a downpour. So that could be a magnitude of where you're actually going up more closer to 60 with that area. That's what we have the warning on play for at least into the 15 minutes. So, and it'd be really helpful. And we don't want it over Tallahassee, but there's a lot of measuring sites for wind over Tallahassee. So we'll be able to kind of see what's happening. This is really getting down to the surface, and it's more of a situation where we got to treat it a little more aggressively, or if maybe we're getting this wind's at 30, 40 here, and they're really not getting down there. We'll find out here pretty soon, I think, with all the different weather sim sites and different reporting sites across Leon County there around the central parts. Again, I just continue to watch things here. They get a gust to 28, about 235 there at the Decatur County Industrial Airport there in Bainbridge. I don't think they got the worst of that, but it looks like some lightning close to US 84 there at this point. But still some gusty winds up there. We have the warning still in that vicinity, but this is right here on Midway. We'll be crossing the interstate here in a little bit. Might be interesting to kind of get a shot on here, honestly, here over the next little bit, because as I'm looking at things, I'm just kind of curious, because that if that holds together, that could be a problem for our I-10 drivers here. Maybe closer, at least, here, maybe just south of the intersection of I-10 with US 90. So we just got that warning to update now. Now we're getting some new data in here. So let me refresh a few things. Looks like we just got that continued out now. We just got that continued. So let's go ahead and zoom back out a little bit. So at 2:45, it's a thunderstorm. And I'm going to do a new track on this now. On that really big area of wind going up. Severe thunderstorm line there, located there from 6 miles northwest of Wiggum to 9 miles southwest of Cairo, to 7 miles northwest of Woodville, moving east at 40 miles an hour. Again, some a little more sustained than you see sometimes here in the summer. But Tallahassee, Florida State University, Midway, Tallahassee Community College, Havana, FAMU, Bainbridge, Wiggum, Doak Campbell Stadium, Attapulgis, Climax, Lake Bradford, Leon Sinks, the Gaither Community Center, Tallahassee Memorial Hospital, Florence Walker Ford Community Center, Jameson, South City, and 8 Mile Pond here. So for your protection, Weather Service is saying you should move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building here, because these winds coming on through. This is some wind of 50 pretty much, 52 actually, that one pixel there. And that's about to cross I-10 there, close toward US 90. So something to keep in mind here for sure. Just continuing to watch things here in the Weather Center, trying to protect you, trying to protect your friends, and trying to protect your family here. We're doing some information seeking behind the scenes right now. If you're wondering what I'm doing, you might be hearing my mouse click some, but just trying to seek the latest information here for the viewers. Yeah, it's winding downpour around Midway now. Let's jump to this if we can. Okay, yeah, some nasty, nasty weather around Midway here. I can see some tree debris in there a little bit too, so let's jump live. It's really nasty looking. See a little bit of tree debris flying around here right now then. On this side. This is live, folks. Florida 511, I-10, mile marker 190. And you can see that tree debris. I mean, you don't generally see little pieces of leaves flying. You see some folks pulling off even on the roads. And now, at least one car there. So, gotta be really careful. Gotta be really careful here. Blinding downpour. This is live, folks, and this is what is headed into one more populated area. So, this is a heads up. This looks pretty serious. And we're getting some live visual confirmation of some inclement, and that's a good way of putting it, a nicer way of putting it, more, I would say, probably dangerous weather conditions here at this point. So, this is some serious stuff coming on through here, some blinding downpour. I mean, some folks, using their flashers, some folks pulling off here. This is I-10 at mile marker 190 here in the ward parts of the Big Bend region. So, again, this is, again, the visual. You really have some nasty, nasty weather here in play. You can kind of see it's hard to see some stuff here on the roadways at times. But, again, as your storyline right now, again, nasty, nasty weather. Let's see if we can kind of track this further on out then. Let me see what else we might have. It looks like it's a story for a little ways there on the interstate. So, now what you want to see, obviously, get a little bit further out ahead of mile marker 192. Let's jump over to that now. You can see here more blinding downpour in this Florida 5-1 perspective as things get adjusted here. So, not good. Midway Branch Creek area, it would seem. So, just trying to give you a visual on what's going on here. I'm going to try to get a little bit further. Let's see if we have, this is going to be near the Leon Rest area. And the wind's shaking here now. Let's taking the camera. So, let's go ahead and jump here now. Near mile marker, close about mile marker 194 if you're around. And you can kind of see here that camera shaking around here right now. In part of Leon County's area, really. I mean, as you're watching things at Leon, Gadsden region, per se. So, again, watching things here across the Big Bend region escalate on us again. Shaking cameras. We've seen that here multiple instances today. Kind of like a tropical storm in some ways. A weaker tropical storm coming on through. So, again, just continuing to watch things here. I mean, a lot shorter lived, but still interesting to see as many cameras we've seen shake here today in our coverage. I mean, it's about timing it up right, too, but Florida 5-1 perspective, you see folks having to take it easy here on the roads with these deteriorating conditions. Again, it's right near the rest area there. The one west of Tallahassee on I-10, the areas where west of Tallahassee. So, again, just trying to give you that view and those views here. Camera shaking around for sure. The deteriorating conditions moving on in right now. Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. Let's go ahead, move away from this. We're at 2:52 right now on the clock. Let's look at some of our velocity numbers again. Reset this a bit. And that's right over the interstate. I mean, that's just past the intersection of US 90. See if that's where we've been with the camera. Let me just double check my geography with this. So yeah, we were, I mean, that's pretty much where we were. I think it feels like it maybe actually, radar's not a continuous scan, so I feel like we might be just a little behind with the radar. Some other views have been kind of telling that story a little bit better even. Oh, this is an interesting one, the Ocklackney River. It might be overdoing it a little bit because of the way it's kind of making things look so blinding, the angle, but you can definitely see some nasty, nasty conditions and tree debris in that shot as well. It would seem. Oh, wow. Look at those leaves flying around here, folks. This is some pretty nasty stuff. You don't always get visuals quite like this here, folks. This is mile marker 193. I-10 there, that Lockney River, that area there. I might go to a different camera to see if we have another perspective on this, but sometimes it's helpful to get more perspective on these situations. But again, just continuing to check here. Let's try that one just about 7/10 of a mile up. Yeah, this is the one where this is really taking a turn here. Really taking a turn on this broad perspective now, folks. Again, this is Florida 5-1 Live, mile marker 193.9 now. You see some folks pulling off, and it's really dangerous. Look how bad that visibility is here, folks. They're going to have to extend this warning to the east. It's pretty clear cut at this point, based on the different metrics we're seeing. I mean, I'll be curious to see the numbers we get in Tallahassee again. Maybe delay just a bit for some areas in Tallahassee, and let's say through about 3:10 now. We need to use 3:15 even if you're east side of town. Stay inside and away from windows. Look at that. This is really dramatic in some ways here, folks. It's shaking around. This is really, really dangerous. Look how slow the cars are having to go. This is not good stuff. You really need to take this seriously to the east. This is what's coming your way here, folks, to the east. You need to get inside. You need to get away from windows. This is serious stuff here around Tallahassee. New warning down at 345. Part to Gaston, Jefferson, and Leon. A 60-mile-an-hour wind gust here. This is some serious stuff, folks. A new warning to 345. This coming down from the Weather Service in Tallahassee. Severe thunderstorm warning number 411 of the year there. 411, I should say, of the year there from the National Weather Service in Tallahassee. We're talking about a severe thunderstorm warning there until that 345 benchmark southeastern Gadsden, northwestern Jefferson, Leon at 2:53. Severe thunderstorm was in the vicinity of Tallahassee Community College. So moving east at 30 miles an hour. Tallahassee, Monticello, Florida State University, Midway, Tallahassee Community College, FAMU, Doak Campbell Stadium, Lake Bradford, Overlord Cody, Gaither Community Center, Tallahassee Memorial Hospital, Walker Ford Community Center, Muskogee, South City, Griffin Heights, Tripton, Tallahassee Airport, Governor Square Mall in Midtown. You gotta be inside. Gotta be away from windows. This is dangerous stuff. We could have trees falling across the interstate roads here across Tallahassee. At this point, with what we're seeing on this camera, I'd be surprised if we don't have reports of trees falling on a road here or there in Tallahassee. So you really need to take this seriously now. This is an escalation. Looks like more like what we saw toward Jacksonville, but this time we had the force of the rain here kind of beating things down here in terms of that, bringing the winds down to the surface. So look at all those flashes. We just got a report of a 43-knot gust at the Florida State campus now, the Love Building, 43 knots there. That's to 50 almost miles an hour. 49 miles an hour there as we round that toward the proper number. But again, this is some nasty stuff, folks. You don't get this all that often here. Again, trying to give you that live visual. Let's get back over to the radar here. Try to warn some folks. Let's warn some folks here as we go ahead and see that new warning box until 345. This is some nasty stuff. Again, you heard me say it's number 411. In terms of the number of severe thunderstorm warnings issued by the Tallahassee office this year. But it's one of the worst ones we've probably seen all year in terms of the level of severity. Not a tornado warning, not to that level, but in terms of severe thunderstorm warnings, out of all those, I mean, that's an incredible number, by the way. But out of all those we've had here this year issued, number 411, that's substantial here, folks. That's substantial stuff that we're talking about and that we're having to deal with. So again, you kind of get the idea on what's going on right now. Let me go ahead and just continue here with the latest. See if there are any questions. I don't see any questions, but again, thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me on this Sunday afternoon, July 9th, 2023. Some pretty nasty weather. It's right over there, right over the airport now. Again, right over FSU now with these winds, as we just learned. I mean, and maybe some of these, let's look at the boundaries here. That's from a minute ago. Some of this wind may be on the edge here just a little bit then. I mean, it's getting obscured some of this point, so it may just be kind of missing some of this because we're right, it is a cone of silence. There's storms right over the airport, but you just can't see them because we're so low with the beam on the radar sight. But again, this is coming right through there, right through Tallahassee in that area. I'm going to go up on the beam just a little, but go back down again. So again, I mean, a gust to about 50, just under 50 at the Love Building on the Florida State University campus. I hope all the students, hope you're inside. That's not the highest gust we've ever had there, but it's a high gust, and obviously that means a tree could fall on campus and or something like that. It's a possibility in theory that could have happened here. Or could still be happening as we speak. I mean, we had one fall when I was there. It was afterward of a storm, right there in the vicinity of that, there in that time frame, but kind of had a saturated ground, I think, playing a role with that. But as we continue to watch things, just have to be really careful. I know right after I graduated from there, we had her mean come through there, and that knocked quite a few trees down. And we'll be curious to see what type of power outage numbers we have over the next few moments coming on in. So let's see what we have in terms of our power outage. .us numbers here, Leon County. I know they don't show much yet, but let's go to the city of Tallahassee because it's been a few minutes since it's updated. I'm sure that's gone up some. I mean, what we saw there. So far, only 11 customers, which is hard to believe, but it's probably, I feel like that's running a little behind. I mean, that type of wind had to have knocked some power out, flying that debris around, and the like here. That's going to be delayed a little bit. I'm sure we're going to see some outages right into town here over the next few moments. So, and we'll continue to watch for that. One thing I don't see here is the lightning. That, we're right at it. It's a little surprising. It's honestly kind of dangerous in a way because you're not getting a warning on this in some regard as much. If you're not paying attention, you don't hear those rumbles of thunder to get you inside. Let's switch to Moody. Switching to Moody. By the way, we just got a 39 or so at the airport coming in. It looks like as we switch, you could see that. But I'm going up a little because this can help us some. So was at 53 past the hour. So yeah, these winds, I mean, definitely could have a gust closer to 60 somewhere in Tallahassee here. We went up on the beam some. This is about 4 minutes behind. But let's get back to the other beam view now, and we'll switch that on over in that source, and you see an update on it some. But again, just continuing to watch things here. Continue to watch, continue to monitor. There's our whole area view right now. I know. Looks like we just got some information here in terms of Lisa giving us an update there. Our viewer in North Tallahassee, it looks like there no wind or rain yet. But they can see the clouds moving in, still maybe 10 miles out, they think, from their area. So North Tallahassee, let's just kind of look there real quick at our mapping. Definitely a storm threat there. We'll see exactly how things correlate on us. We'll have to see how things correlate. There's a chance, at least, that we saw it at least when it was a little bit further back here. It depends on exactly where you are. I mean, talking about 319. So let me go ahead and correlate my maps here pretty good. Again, looking here, you see Bradfordville, you see S27, you see County Road 157. So again, just continuing to watch things here. Very careful. I see up in Georgia, they went with significant weather advisory now for Grady and Thomas until 3:45. So again, just continuing to give you guys the very latest here. Continuing to give you guys the very latest to protect you, your friends, and your family. You can hear our computers working really hard here. You see, it looks like a wind kind of right in this area here now. Right in here, if you look at our echoes, there. So just continuing to watch things, giving you guys the latest. Just trying to give you guys everything you need to protect you, your friends, and your family. So just for perspective here, Killearn right in here, it looks like generally. I know, I wish it would show up on our map better, but trying to correlate some things. Killearn Acres here, right in here, showing up. So this is the wind coming in. It may be a little stronger down here, I think, with the apex of the bow. It's kind of showing up here on our scan. I know it's not correlating as good in the radar since we're getting obscured, but yeah, maybe a little stronger down here, but still pretty strong up here as well, possibly, as that moves on in. So, again, just going to continue to watch things here with all of our different maps. We're just going to keep on looking at things here as the situation evolves on us. I know, just checking everything we have here to protect you, your friends, and your family. So, again, trying to let you guys know what's happening here. 42-mile-an-hour gust, Lockney boat ramp in the area there around Panacea at 3 o'clock coming on in. I'll be curious to see if we have more gusts in Tallahassee like we had at the Love Building there. A gust of 49 at FSU there. Reported a gust here, a little less at the airport, so I still can cause some damage here for sure. That gust here, pretty similar, maybe a little less last night, some of these spots. So far, I don't think we had one quite to 49 last night. I'll have to look back, but we did have some damage, and definitely could have some damage again here today. So, again, just continuing to watch things here. Continuing to give you guys the very latest to protect you, your friends, and your family. So, that's still at 4750. That's not that high off the ground either. That's right there. This south of US 90, that's north of US 27, east there of US 319. So that's where we're at right here. Now we don't have, it's not going to rain as much in that area, so I wonder a little bit of displacement. We're right on the edge here, just not far from the cone of silence, so it's going to make it a little harder to correlate exactly how things are setting up with the overall threat. I know the south have had some of these gustier winds right into the coast. Zooming on out, we have some storms in Georgia here. Parts of, and I see some echo tops up there, but parts of Mitchell County, south of Camilla, some strong wind, 40 miles an hour or so. Could get a warning they're saying there. That intensifies here on Cairo. Winds next to 40 possible. Thomasville, that right over next little bit in Thomas County. I know we're being told earlier on now there was a tree that was knocked down in St. Johns County on Racetrack Road around 2 hours ago, 2 miles northwest of Durban. So that's something that is worth noting there as well from that round of storming that was moving on in. We'll have to see how this kind of holds together. Hopefully we'll get lucky. Some of the models I looked at this morning here, we're not holding this other round here and play at this point together to the east, but we have different rounds here, folks. And let me check my latest model runs. We've been on for a while here. Except for that little break we had, I didn't have a chance to look at the latest modeling that much. So let's go ahead. I'm going to check it behind the scene. I wanted to see what HRRR is showing. Lately, the models, I mean, we almost have to be careful with the messaging and just not go too specific on things because sometimes things you need to be a little more broad in your messaging. I am kind of guilty of it. Sometimes we get honing down too much in the model and then things shift and then we think the forecast is wrong. But things are still not going to be perfect here by any means. Even though the model's gotten better over the year, they're not going to be perfect in forecasting. I mean, at one point we didn't really have much of a hail risk in Oklahoma City last night, and they had baseball, so it's hail. So you just never know what can have really come into place here. What areas can have in these type of setups. So let's go ahead. Let's see this. I'm looking at our modeling now. Yes, there's that area on Tallahassee weekend, but then more accent from north and west, and now not really so much here. Now maybe tomorrow morning, we'll see. You never know here, run by run. You can't get too specific with this, but maybe it's trying to think we're gonna not have enough instability. But we've already had some pretty nasty values to show up in our system. So again, 3,000 joules per kilogram is a lot. So I don't know if it's gonna weaken on down, but it'd be nice if it did. But we'll see. Gust 256 though, 49 miles an hour at the FSU campus there at the Weather Service office. So if you're not familiar with FSU, the Weather Service office there, getting toward the top of the Love Building there, on the FSU campus. The old FSU meteorology building has been moved since then, but when I was there, that's where it was in terms of the meteorology building with the same building within that same building as the weather service. So and now meteorology building, new building, weather service still the same building. But again, gust of 47 there, Alligator Point, 47-mile-an-hour gust, ball point is what they're saying. To be more specific there, 305. Again, just checking some more information here. I don't think these gusts have been quite as impressive so far. I think we'll be getting more reports in maybe. We'll see. Tallahassee. I mean, we got the one at FSU, which is pretty impressive for FSU. 49 on campus, but other than that, we haven't seen a lot so far here. We'll keep checking the latest here to protect you, your friends, and your family. So let me just investigate here a little bit more. I want to check, see what we have with City of Tallahassee Electric. See what we have in terms of outages. So we have only 23 customers. That's good. Really good news so far. Let's see if Talquin has some numbers showing up. That's almost stunning, actually, considering the shot we had, some of the shots we had out toward the west. Talquin, let's see what Talquin has. Talquin has only 15 customers out, so that's not too many either. So that's surprisingly some good news so far. But I mean, we did have a gust of 49 on campus there at FSU, so nothing to, just, I mean, it's not nothing to just be overwhelmed by, but it's not just something it happens every day there. So it happened a few times this summer, maybe, give or take, but not something that's just overwhelming, but not something that is just everyday occurrence. So again, I know we're gusting Hermine there. We had one, I believe, on campus in the 60s. It's not Hermine, but this is not a tropical system. It's just the way the shots were looking and the way this has been setting up toward Jacksonville earlier. I gust for a few moments. I mean, with some of the numbers in the 60s there, reminds you of some of those gusts you're getting in some of your weaker tropical systems. But again, just continue to watch things, weaker threats anyway, for in terms of the correlation. I mean, compared to Hermine, I mean, it's Cat 1, but that wasn't really weak for Tallahassee, if you know what I mean. A lot of power outages, trees coming down everywhere. So, again, let's just go ahead and keep watching things, though. I think our radar's obscuring us some because I only have one lightning strike there, so I feel like hopefully we'll be in a situation where there's a little bit more bane with this here based on the radar, and then a little more robust and not getting this as much down to the surface then. But hard to say because, I mean, it doesn't look like it's correlated with the rain as much, which could be precluding some of this from getting down toward the surface here. We're again obscured because of the cone of silence here. The other warning goes to 345, but we'll just have to see if we keep getting the new information in or not, because if we don't, with this coming right through town, I would feel like we'd get more information in this. More numbers here. Let's check Georgia while we're on here. Cairo, strong storm there over the Cairo and Grady County. All storms, they don't look the same on radar, even if they are similar. It's possible that some around Cairo are a little stronger than what we thought in terms of things, even if they didn't look that much. And this may be a little weaker, and they could be about similar strength then, is what I'm saying. So again, not out of the question based on what we're seeing. I think there may be some decay with this storm around Tallahassee, but again, hard to tell for sure. Let's go to Moody's radar, see what we're getting from that. I mean, yeah, they'll play some decay on that. And some of the stuff south of Camilla looks pretty strong then. Again, it's so unpredictable this time of year, but still a gust 49 is nothing to take lightly there on FSU's campus. 50-mile-an-hour winds up around Cairo now off of Moody's side, and some winds there west of Pelham to almost 50. So hopefully we don't need one. We may end up getting a warning out here. We'll have to watch for ADL later. I know we have some viewers out there. Moody's at 20 miles an hour, so it's still a little ways away, but they doubt about Asta. I know the models have this stuff kind of fading some, but we'll see. We'll see, because it seems like that might not fade as easy here with those instability values we talked about. Did have to rain this morning in some of these areas, though, which could help us some. But temperature Tallahassee, let's see if this updates down to 78 there, 88 Thomasville still, though, as we go ahead and continue to watch things. You can see around Bradfordville, they're getting potentially some higher gusts. Let's see if there's anything new in terms of any comments here. And yeah, this is kind of what I was starting to see on our scans. It's so tricky come on, we make a big deal out of stuff based on what we're seeing on cameras, and it just depends on where you are. But looks like situation here now, raining sideways with the winds blowing, but the gusts not like they had last night. So it's all, I mean, this time of year, even though pretty nasty in Tallahassee proper, not necessarily like the gut they had last night, but it's all about location. So when I say Tallahassee proper, I mean downtown. But of course, a lot of areas around Tallahassee, there in the ward, that area here, a lot of different neighborhoods. But again, just continuing to watch things here in the weather center. Continuing to watch things here in the weather center. You know, the things that are really more localized this time of year sometimes. I know Jacksonville wasn't as localized. We had all those gusts 60 plus, I mean, or 58 plus at least, which is unusual for sure. That's why we're kind of being a little more careful in Tallahassee. But Cairo now just got a gust from the Weather Station Fire Department, 310 to 42 miles an hour coming on through. So pretty strong winds there in Grady County. Not a warning, but strong thunderstorm threat there. Again, watching this, and let me see the power outage numbers here. I'll be curious, and if we have to go off here pretty soon, if we're not seeing enough, then just keep in mind if we have new warnings issues that aren't as substantial looking. I mean, last night we didn't think it was as substantial toward Tallahassee. Didn't have a lot of reports, but still some problems here in some points of the region. We'll be posting those Facebook KC Cloud, WX Facebook Clouds Weather, and then Twitter at Cloud Casey's. Something to keep in mind as we go ahead and say right now. Leon County, the numbers just aren't coming up, which is good, obviously. It's a little surprising. Okay, did go up some now. 589 customers in the dark. That's still not overwhelming for Leon, but a few different outages. There's 15 different outage orders, so some of the outages aren't necessarily that high where these outages are, so that's good. I mean, the customers in the dark number aren't that, the numbers aren't that high per location, but 29 customers in the dark on Talquin, by the way, that other electric source there. But again, continuing to watch things. So since we got enough of a number, I'll stick with it a little longer, but we could get another warning in Jefferson and maybe in the further over in Madison, but right now, if we don't get much more out of Leon, if we don't get like emergency management reports or storm reports, kind of lean against that. But guess what? We just got a new warning toward Georgia till 4:15. So again, this stuff getting stronger now in Georgia. Unfortunately, a new warning now for another hour. So Brooks, Colquitt, Grady, Mitchell, and Thomas counties. So at 3:14, severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from near Camilla to near Cairo, moving east at 25 miles an hour. So northeastern Grady, southeastern Mitchell, as well as Thomas, northwestern Brooks, western Colquitt counties included. We have Moultrie, we have Thomasville, we have Cairo, we have Pelham, we have Camilla, we have Boston, we have Dover, Lockney, Coolidge, Riverside, Sly, Funston, as well as Barwick, Sale City, Dillon, Merrillville, Moultrie Municipal Airport, and Murphy all under this. So that's now a new warning for another hour there, for an hour here, 4 parts of South Georgia. Talking about really south central as we get further east, but southwest further off toward the west here. As we have some stronger winds going up on the Moody radar here for sure now. 2 different areas of focus. This we're moving right toward Pelham here over the next few moments. I mean, really, it's going to probably update on it, be right over Pelham. And then Cairo, the storm and this is moving on the side of Thomasville. Okay, they're just giving us an update. They've canceled out Gadsden out of the warning to the south now. But they're keeping Leon and Jefferson for now until 3:45. So, again, we're just going to have to keep watching things here a little longer. Keep tracking things here in the weather center. Again, trying to give you guys the very latest to protect you, your friends, and your family. So, these are some more impressive echoes off the Moody side. Again, this is an area here north of Pine Park moving off toward the north side of Thomasville on US 19 over the next few moments. There's Pelham here. There's Pelham. It looks like 47, 48 mile an hour winds coming up, but a little bit of loft. This could be getting transported down to the angle on Tallahassee. River didn't show it as much. But again, just thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for trusting me here on this Sunday afternoon with these storms coming on through here. A tricky pattern that we're trying to keep tabs on for sure. So again, you can see here northeast have areas there. I mean, like Reno and more east of Cairo at this point. Again, watching things you see around Pelham there. This is coming right in town, folks. Around Pelham now. I mean, it's over you at this point. I mean, these winds could be pretty strong. Could be knocking a tree down here or there. Again, we'll just continue to watch things. You see northwest of Thomasville. That didn't look like it's correlated quite as much. I mean, we saw earlier that we didn't need it correlated for Jacksonville with the wind problems there. But you see around Pelham there, 48 miles an hour worth of wind, give or take, toward that area. So that's something that's pretty nasty. That's something that we'll watch moving toward Colquitt County over the next little bit. You see this area here moving into Thomas County. These are two different areas that look the strongest right now. Just doesn't look as strong down here anymore, and based on the reporting, the lack thereof out of Leon with power outages, only about 500 customers out, according to the city of Tallahassee's electric there. It looked like it makes me think it's not quite as bad down there as it could have been, which is definitely some good news. Not much lighting down there either, so some decay happening then with that storminess, which is good news. But again, continuing to watch things, continue to track them here in the Weather Center. You see the stuff in Flagler, Marion, not too much down there. A little bit around Ocala, some lightning, but a few areas of lightning there. We look toward east of Perry and Taylor County. And we have other areas here in between. Right now, 2 warnings in play. 4 portions of the area. Let's go ahead and zoom back in. So you're on Tallahassee there along I-10. We had the cameras up earlier. They were kind of telling a story. They might be still pretty impressive. Maybe not quite as much, but we'll keep tabs on. I may go back to them here in a little bit. We'll see. But looking there in parts of Colquitt County here. Next few moments with some of this. Right now, further back out toward parts of Mitchell County there. We're watching things as well. Again, continue to give you the latest to protect you, your friends, and your family. Here's our coverage map if you're wondering where we're at. So, warning in Georgia for parts of Brooks, Colquitt, Grady, Mitchell, and Thomas. All the way to 4:15. The warning in Florida for parts of Leon and Jefferson to 3:45. We broadcast from Bradford County in North Central Florida. We had storminess earlier. Didn't have an advisory, but we had gusts to 30 measured on an anemometer, which is pretty strong considering it's not too high up. And then, of course, we had the warnings for Duval and a little bit of Clay there with that one, and St. John's, Flagler, a little bit of Putnam, Bob as well with some of the storminess earlier on, but that was more substantial to the east. But again, continuing to watch things, continuing to monitor the situation, just trying to let you guys know exactly what's going on. And you can kind of see what we're talking about. So I know some of our different scans, we're trying to get them on in here and give you guys the latest. And let's go ahead and go to the analyst computer then. Let's go ahead and switch back over to the analyst computer at this point, as we continue to give you guys the very latest to protect you, your friends, and your family. You can see here, not as much wind in eastern Leon, but toward Ocklackney. That latest scan a little bit weaker there, but the Pelham area, I bet there's some issues up there. I mean, that's pretty strong wind right over Pelham right now in parts of southern Mitchell County. So, again, we're tracking that into our Colquitt County over the next few moments. May miss some old trees downtown, but we're not too far there from the intersection of US 319B and US 319. I think kind of have where it takes you to town, more a bypass there. But again, I continue to watch things toward Pelham, Again, that's a really strong pixel wind there in the word Pelham in parts of Mitchell County. So just giving you a track on this. I mean, that's your 1 hour track. Let me double check our motion, and then eventually the Adel in Cook County may have to watch this. So we may jump off here if this doesn't hold together too much more here in terms of being more unpopulated areas here, not seeing much in the other storms that are as substantial to get a little more unpopulated areas there. But eventually I might have to jump back on, or just at least we're giving you a heads up now, but probably have to jump back onto that holds together in terms of a warning. In that area there on radar, the word Adel in Cook County. So again, and continuing to watch things. That's just giving you a heads up there. I mean, this may move a little faster than the track on here, but I mean, that's a 1 hour track. That's a 2 hour track. So it's like an hour and a half here, folks. So again, just continuing to watch things, continuing to track things here in the Weather Center. Let's go ahead and move back on over here. You can kind of see this stuff in Leon County. We're still watching it here. Let me see what our power outage numbers look like at this point. Still not an overwhelming number. Georgia, 958 customers in the dark. Looks like about 172 in Grady County right now. So let's zoom back out a little. Interesting to see that. 65 in Thomas County. 17 Mitchell County, Georgia. Florida here, 2,792 customers in the dark. Actually in Putnam County. No really big threat there at this point, but we did have some storms in the vicinity earlier. 571 customers. 1,769 out in Duval County. St. John, I don't think that's been updated here on some of those in a while. So let me check FPNL. I know there's a few they're not showing up. So there's some outages in St. John's, but we're not necessarily getting the full scope on some of these. There's some issues with some of these outage maps here. I know. Looks like there's still some out toward coastal areas there. At least, I mean, a few folks in the dark. So just not getting updated here at that point. At this point, it doesn't look like. So. Leon County, yeah, wow, 107. That's it. Wow. City of Tallahassee there, 98. Earlier, it says 707 though on the other, so that's just not updating quite right either then. So 707 on the City of Tallahassee's grid, according to their official site, that's updating here more instantaneously. And 116, so about 1,000 or so out in Tallahassee. We had a lot worse before, though. I mean, honestly, to get that coming right through town, I mean, it's still a good number, but we've had worse there in Tallahassee for sure. Still about 1,000 in the dark, though, but so we had, let's see here, 41 mile an hour gust reported at Lafayette High School there, in toward parts of our area, at about 322 around Mayo. So that's a strong storm, not a severe storm, but a strong storm. No advisory there. They might pull one out here in a few moments, but strong storm there in toward those areas further off toward the east. So definitely looks like the strongest area of wind now on our analyst computer. And this time of year you can kind of play things both ways, but that definitely looks like something that's a little more worthy of me standing a little longer there southeast of Pelham in parts of Mitchell County. Again, keep watching. It looks like it strengthens some though as it gets a little bit, honestly, a little closer to that radar side and the angles can play a role here on us though. But be curious to hear if there's any power outages, any issues around Pelham. Okay, we just got a gust in the Mitchell County Airport at 39 reported. So if that got a gust of 39 or so, I mean, that's a tropical force. I feel like this area down here could have got something quite a bit stronger. We'll have to see. It doesn't always work perfectly like we want it to, comparing velocity to actual ground truth. But still, again, a situation here they'll be watching on this Sunday afternoon. So again, not a lot of lightning like we sometimes will see, so that kind of makes it a little more dangerous in some ways. People aren't ready to go inside because they don't realize how bad things are until it's right on top of them. Sometimes in this pattern today, we've seen the wind kind of push out ahead even. So again, that's always tricky. That's always tricky stuff here when we're dealing with that. So again, you just have to keep that in mind here for sure. You just have to keep that in mind as you're tracking things across our area. So, again, just trying to give you guys the latest here to protect you, your friends, and your family. Again, looking around Pelham right now in South Georgia. Mitchell County, moving into Colquitt County here over the next little bit. You can see eventually maybe toward Adel and I-75, but that's still a ways away. Outside of Thomasville, some nasty winds. Still some nasty weather coming into Thomasville, no doubt. And Moultrie, but the person may miss those two towns proper. But you never know. A tree could still fall. Could still fall. They still got to be taken it seriously. This looks a lot weaker down here. I mean, no another beam, all squits, but I don't see any lightning down here. So it's not severe criteria, but at this point, you'd expect at least a little lightning as this was all that strong down here. I mean, don't have a lot up to the north, but a little bit at least. We're not seeing any down here, so I feel like this is probably not going to get a new warning when the time is for maybe a renewal to the east. That's probably not going to happen here at this point for that. One, you have up here in the east, we had to get to about 41 miles an hour. Yeah, Romeo a few moments ago. Strong, but not severe at this point. Tallahassee are really not selling this stuff near as nasty up here, though. But that Moody site's selling a different story. And, I mean, we had to get 39 up here, and I feel like the winds are even stronger and are still stronger. Just passing by Pelham, just passing by US 19. Look at that. Wow. I mean, more rural area, but I hesitate going off when you have a signature that stands out like that. I mean, it's just going to be a lot more rural. If it'll just drop off a little, I'll probably wrap it up because we don't want to just completely overhype things, especially this time of year when you have these storms. But this is more of a line segment situation today than just pop-up stuff. A little more sustained convection here on this Sunday, July 9th here, 2023. But again, continuing to watch here. I mean, that's so severe wind on radar. East side of town here, moving away from Pelham. I mean, I know it's up there about 4,000, 5,000 feet, but it's a pretty nasty little area there, and that correlates pretty well to what we're seeing. Correlates pretty well there on that angle. So just got to be kind of careful here. Hoping that'll drop off. I know I had some of that in Baker County earlier on, but we didn't get a warning. I think the thinking was there that I wasn't reaching down, and we did get a few power outages there. Never got an observation, but might have been an area that we weren't really getting observations out of, and that might be why we had problems in Duval, because that wind further up too was getting pushed down as it got closer. You couldn't see it as well on radar, but it was there and it was getting pushed down to the surface to some degree, so pushed out there. But look at that latest one. It looked like it's a little more. Let's see, that looks like it's kind of coming together a little bit in a way, and it's just showing some strong. Maybe not able to get down quite as strong, but it's about the same. This is southeast and east southeast of Pelham right now, in parts of Mitchell County. Again, we're tracking things here for at least a little longer. And the storm down here got a little bit of lightning popping back up northeastern Leon. We'll watch for Monticello. Still some strong gusts possible. I don't know if that's going to get another warning though. Probably not. Again, is where I'm leaning with that. You see our area out Brooks, Colquitt, Grady, Mitchell, Thomas, the focal point right now. South Georgia. Back up to the north we go. You see that area there on Pelham. Let's just continue to watch that zone. Again, hope that goes down on us because I've always been picking up there in parts of that area. Mitchell County over into Colquitt County over the next little bit. So again, looking there, intersection of State Road 202, State Road 111. That's where this is headed over the next few moments. We should look ahead at least within the next 10 to 15. But again, this time of year things get tricky. But other than a little more of a line segment situation than just pop-up stuff in and of itself. I mean, it's kind of developing on the fly in some ways, but a little bit different. Again, different processes going on with the setup today. Can back this out a little bit, back it up a little bit, go forward again. Again, we're just trying to give you guys the latest here to protect you, your friends, and your family. Again, we've been trying to stay away from staying on as much for some of these storms that aren't quite as well defined if they're not in a more populated area, but this is really well defined, even though it's kind of going away from population. here. So, I mean, obviously for tornado warnings, we're always on, but this time of year anyway is what I mean by that. Because we just get so many warnings. I mean, you heard what I said. That was 411 there in terms of number of warnings issued. I'm not saying that quite right, but the number of warnings this year issued by the National Weather Service in Tallahassee. Severe thunderstorm warnings, that number was up to 411 with that warning there for Tallahassee. Now, this one here might have got us to 412. Maybe if that might even been one earlier on, I'm not sure, but 412 was pretty much, I think, where we're at now with this. I mean, that's a lot of warnings. We're only about halfway through the year. I know more of them come this point back versus this point forward, but still, it's just interesting to see that many severe thunderstorm warnings apparently issued here in 2023 by Tallahassee's office. So, been an active period. I mean, we had that active period last month, not quite to that level here today. I mean, not near that level if you think back to that one Wednesday, I believe it was here. In the time when we had that moderate risk here, we had so many days in a row with bad, dangerous weather, but that Wednesday was almost unprecedented for this time of year. Something we'll never forget here in the Weather Center. I mean, that was just crazy. Baseball size hail type reports coming in. Tornadoes. I mean, that's just stuff you don't see here this time of year, or I mean, hail hardly any time of year. But again, continuing to watch things. Looking there on Pelham. The numbers have come down a little, but not by much. 57 miles an hour, still sun up just south of Cotton. It'd be nice to get that down a little bit more here, but again, this warning goes till 4:15 for parts of Grady, Mitchell, Thomas, Brooks, and Colquitt counties. Look at Thomasville here. Still some strong weather coming through, no doubt, there in Thomas County. Get no warning from Mayo, but we did get a gust over 40 there. We'll watch that stuff as it moves toward areas in southern Suwannee, southern Columbia County, maybe even in Bradford later. We'll see if it holds together, but no advisory or warning out there. But still pretty strong gusts to have measured. I don't know if speaking of that, they just put an advisory out just now, right on cue. Southern Columbia and Suwannee to about 4:15. There you go. Winds around 40. I promise I didn't see that ahead of time, but just looking there, I know stuff does come from chat, but I didn't look over there before mentioning that. But Doppler radar was tracking strong thunderstorms along the line extending from near looks like Dowling Park there at 7 miles southwest of Live Oak, moving east at 25. So Lake City, Live Oak, Columbia, Woburn, O'Brien, McAlpin, Lauraville, New Bern, and Houston there. So if outdoors, consider seeking inside shelter at this point. So that's kind of the storyline there. We'll watch that. I mean, just kind of watching the movement. You can kind of see there. I might be going a little quicker than that, but just kind of giving an idea of some of that movement. You saw this storm around Leon, Jefferson. We'll keep watching it. I don't see as much with it. This is the one we've been watching, though. It's not so quite as much here, this latest, but it's still right on the cusp there of severe. I mean, that latest scan somewhere like 55, but 58 is severe. Definitely could be getting that down to the surface. As we look there, again, that worst out of the accident, probably going this very far south side of Moultrie. I mean, you see a few things on topography there. Not a whole bunch. I'm just going to check something real quick behind me. Just checking some of our numbers here. Now, earlier on, I wanted to mention that we didn't get a lot of rain towards dark. We're at in Bradford County, about 2/10 of an inch, by the way. Just go ahead and kind of talk about that for a moment while we're on. Our viewers here in Bradford, curious about that maybe. Again, 2/10 of an inch there in the Bradford County area east of Stark here earlier on. Then the day, like there, so we got like 4 or 5 inches there, just northwest of Stark proper, really where we're at though. We got about an inch, I think it was, and then quite a bit of rain on that Friday as well. But not as much, not really seeing that on that Saturday there in play. But again, trying to give you guys a breakdown. You can see that there, 55 miles an hour worth of winds. Down here, not so much. We'll see if a new warning gets issued, but I kind of doubt it down there this year. Still enough to be of a concern there, though. And that's 30 minutes out right there. And Adele, a little over an hour for Adele in Cook County. If that holds together. We'll see if it does. Hopefully it doesn't, but that area is really kind of sticking out there. Like a sore thumb. I mean, it kind of correlates here pretty well with the radar, that heavy rain, that wind coming together there. Again, trying to give you guys the latest to protect you, your friends, and your families. It's kind of storyline right now. I know. Checking if there's any questions from any of the viewers at home. I didn't see anything, but again, thanks so much for watching me on Facebook, Casey Cloud Reacts, Facebook Clouds Weather, YouTube at Cloud Weather there. We also have Twitch there, Cloud Weather. You have the website where the links available, cloudweather.com. So a lot of different tools here for you, the viewer at home, in these type of situations to get a grasp on and just get a grasp on the situation with. Again, watching things right now out here, 56 mile an hour gust there, give or take on the velocity scan. You see toward the south here, Monticello, a little bit of lightning. You have some stuff in Suwannee County. We're watching it. But out toward Colquitt County, that's why we still have winds now, maybe toward about 56 miles an hour, sewing up. Getting close to the intersection of 202 and 111. Look at topography. There are some homes out here, and it will be getting a little more populated area on the south side of Moultrie. Here, or at least giving you a heads up. It may go more like this here with the worst of this. But kind of track it like this a little bit, and you'll be able to see some of the topography. Kind of clips them, and then more rural again for a while. But eventually, there's a Dale south side, maybe a town. We'll see. Could sift around more, could weaken, as I've outlined here over the last little bit. So let's see what we got here. 36 past. We had the velocity scan at 56 miles an hour. Hopefully we'll keep getting that number to go down a little more. But they're still keeping the warning for now. Continuing at a 415 for parts of Brooks, Colquitt, Mitchell, and Thomas. It canceled out Grady County. But let's give you the latest specific details at 338. So that thunderstorms are located along the line extending from near Camilla to near Thomasville along that, moving east at 25 miles an hour. 60 mile an hour wind gust. Thomasville as well. Moultrie, Camilla, not out of the question. Pelham, you have Boston, Dover, and Ocklackney, Coolidge, Riverside, Sly, Funston, Barwick, Sale City, Thomasville, Municipal Airport, Dillon, Cotton, South Moultrie, and Merrillville. So again, interesting to see some of these different communities here. I know we mentioned the community of Sly. There's also a Sly County in Georgia. Fun story about that. Believe it or not, I didn't know the pronunciation of that until high school football state championships in Georgia last year, and learned that. So it was kind of interesting. Learned that from my dad, actually, when I was mispronouncing that. Kind of helped me there on that. But again, he's from Georgia originally. Born there. But again, looking back, Governor's Square there, Leon County, 305, it looks like now there's a report that we did end up having a large tree that was blown down near and along Blairstone Road between Park Avenue and Mahan Drive. So just interesting to hear about there. So let's just go ahead and continue to watch things here on the scans. This looks weaker now. That's good. I mean, not saying it couldn't cause damage. It definitely could, but this does look a little bit weaker now as we're done with things. Just south of, looks like 111. Georgia 111 now. The worst could be right over it, though, too. This could be displaced a little. We showed you that example the other day from Jacksonville to Moody for that storminess in the southeast part of northeast Florida. We were watching toward Putnam and St. John's and Flagler the other day. The rotation, we kind of seen the displacement there. So, okay, so this is weakening some. Still nasty, still dangerous, still takes out. There's still maybe a gust of 53 right in here. I just don't see as much of that as together. It's a little closer to the radar that could be affecting things too. But so if we don't get a new warning to the south here, the plan is we're going to wrap it for now. But I'm giving you the heads up now around the far south side of Moultrie Road, where we have the decision that has to be made between if you want to go into town or if you want to take a bypass here. That's about where things will be pretty bad here in about a half an hour. Not as much, into town at this point. It doesn't look like you're under a warning, though. So still be watching things very carefully. Still be inside with the lightning threat that is in play and the heavy rain threat. The latest scan there, showing winds to 54 now. So again, as soon as you want to kind of write this off a little bit, it kind of reared its ugly head, if you want to say it like that. And you see some stuff here on Merrillville. It's a little bit stronger now around Merrillville as it moves away from Thomas County and into parts of areas there a little bit further on over. I say out of Thomas, it's still in Thomas because I'm seeing the boundaries wrong, but eventually it'll be into Brooks County, still in Thomas County, but out of areas closer to the north side of Thomasville, really, at this point. So that's what we're talking. You see Merrillville. I mean, the same north side of Thomasville. I think we still have the airport in here, but yeah, we do. But it's kind of just trying to get away from town, really. Again, continuing to watch things here. Continuing to monitor things. You can kind of see here. There's your one area. There's your second area. Maybe headed toward areas in Brooks County like Morven, and then later it could be getting around maybe the south of Hahira. We'll watch that again to the south. Not as impressed by that right now. Watch some stuff in parts of Suwannee County. Let's get on over to other mode. Here in just a moment, we'll switch on over. It's a one-man band, so I'm going to do things on the fly as I talk. But you see just west of Live Oak there. That 90-degree temperature and some storminess there. Just to the west and the southwest there. So you see this area here again. Hadn't been impressed as much by Monticello. Still gusty winds possible there. You see Thomas County north of Thomasville. Some stuff we tried about you. It's not as easy to see on this, but already getting some heavy rain there around Moultrie. It didn't suffer as well on the other mode, maybe, but I mean, even behind that's something good to mention. Oh yeah, area of heavy rain on the leading edge isn't the worst of it. The stronger winds are back behind in that second batch there, so that's kind of interesting to keep in mind. Different than what we saw to the southeast there, toward Jacksonville, toward the south around Tallahassee. To some degree, for sure though, around Jacksonville. I mean, the kind of more behind and the Georgia storms in it. Tallahassee and the east on the leading edge and the Jacksonville axis. That's what it looked like. A radar displacement with pixels could have affected us some with that assessment. But so we have a considerable flash flood there around Raleigh, but looks like some of the worst that's moved through the storminess for now. You see some severe thunderstorm warnings still out toward the southeast parts of North Carolina. New updates just coming in. A bunch of flooding though. Parts of Pennsylvania, parts of, I know that threat can be extended into New Jersey, but New York State here as well. I mean, vehicles having some problems here, roads being closed. And those maroon boxes indicate there considerable flood threats on the national level. So moderate risk of flooding there, flash flooding according to Weather Prediction Center. That warning did go away for now in the Big Bend. It looks like here, the 345, which is some positive news. So let's go ahead and continue to watch things a little longer. See what we're getting into it, because it looked like it had been pulsing up a little. It's still there. I mean, much so I kind of want to write it off here like the models were trying to do. So still hanging together pretty tough. You see those pixels right, they go in right tight. There, that's right around State Road 111 right now. These areas here, that gets a little bit further north. Actually, as we look a little bit on this further into some of these communities on the south side of Moultrie per se. That's something that's worth noting then. 52, 53. Again, looking toward Merrillville here, 47. 49 miles an hour worth of wind there. Again, just continuing to watch things to protect you, your friends, and your family. Cooler air toward Camilla, 75 degrees there now. 75 degrees in Tallahassee. Go to winds, your gust there, we had 139 earlier, Tallahassee. Latest 112 or so around Camilla, 21. Thomasville out. Of course, we had a gust to 49 at the FSU campus area there. Talking about the Weather Service office there, Love Building. Again, looking at this here. 56 miles an hour with the gust showing up on that latest assessment. That one is coming on in here in the last few moments. You see that kind of just still wanting to not give up here as it pushes on in. So at this point, it looks like I might end up really being due for another warning here, as we're getting close to probably about an hour out from Adele now. Adele, in Cook County, Georgia. So giving you guys that early heads up there. You see Hahira? Well, we have some of this wind accident. We're going south of there. We just get a report. Cairo. I don't know if it was at 3:15. This report. They're saying, let's back this up. And we talked about Cairo there, but when did that first warning come out? The first warning came out at 3:15. They're saying, but so we do have a report of 3 trees there that were blown down in the Cairo area in Grady County. So hopefully we're able to give you a little bit of a heads up on that. Hopefully we're able to give you a little bit of heads up on that situation there around Cairo as that emerged. So that area there is what did it then. It looks like as we go back on the scan a little bit, that area there, we had that winter on 310 to 42, 315, the damage apparently there in that timeline. But again, you can see Merrillville, 52 miles an hour with the wind right now. You see different communities right on that Thomas Brooks County line, getting further over in the Brooks and then in the Lowndes later maybe. This here going right toward areas there on the south side of Moultrie. Again, watching that carefully. Watching that situation carefully there. Again, the stronger gust of wind showing on up here. I mean, this warning to the west goes to 4:15, I believe it is, and it is 4:15. Maybe due for an extension here. This got a little weaker in that latest scan, but you never know what could happen here in this type of setup. I know we're just getting some new updates here in the weather center. Marginal risk here, and I see there's no slight risk now further back, like what we had earlier, which is interesting. But a marginal out of the west, we don't have one of these, but already had the damage and the problems toward Jacksonville, St. John's, that vicinity of the area earlier on. Again, you can see here that we're just still dealing with some things. You see Moultrie, you have Thomasville still in that yellow box. That is in play. Eventually, the I-75 corridor could be impacted. So, again, that's something to be mindful of here for sure. See if there's any questions right now. I don't see anything, but it's again, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for trusting me here on this Sunday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center, giving you guys the latest to protect you, your friends, and your family. Again, checking things here, 54 miles an hour on the wind estimate on radar right now. I'm just looking at that. I know some of this edge here. I mean, they'll probably make a decision pretty soon if they want to go with a significant weather advisory to the east or a warning. Right now, I kind of think they'd probably lean toward a warning, but we'll see what happens here over the next few moments. It weakened a little in that latest scan. I mean, it's just different angles can have an impact on that sometimes. So something to keep in mind. Something to keep in mind for sure. Again, just trying to give you guys the very latest here. Just trying to give you guys an important heads up on things here as they develop across our area. So, typing some different things out, trying to get an idea of what is going on. So again, see some stronger wind here. State Road 111, that area, you see some here east of Merrillville. This one still looks a little stronger, but the one to the south had verified damage on Cairo. A few trees being blown down there, 3 of them to be precise according to that local storm report. So again, something that's worth noting here. Again, just continuing to watch things. There's your latest scan. This looks a little stronger now almost. Down here in the southern edge, that could move into northern Brooks County. Over the next little bit in northern parts of Lowndes to Hahira. Could have some issues here over the next little bit, so we'll just have to continue to watch. We'll just have to continue to monitor things. Give you guys the very latest here. So again, let me just go ahead and keep checking here on what's going on. We're just trying to give you guys the latest assessments here as they come on out. We'll just have to keep on looking at things. Again, within 15, well, probably within about 10 minutes. I mean, so we have outside of this warning. So we'll know if they're going to extend this here pretty soon. Could be a situation based on what we're seeing on radar that I'm not sure we'll play it like this or not, but it's possible we could just kind of see a new warning and wrap it. Okay, here we go, a new warning. So let's see. And then you see these strong colors here still showing up. But at least give you the heads up here and then maybe possibly wrap it as we look at some of these areas of topography. We'll just continue to watch things with that. There's a new box about to come on up here in just a moment here. So you'll see new yellow box extended parts of Brooks, Colquitt, Cook, Lowndes, and Thomas until 445 now. That's just going to include the I-75 corridor, it would seem. To some degree it does there. You can see that new yellow box there on your screen. Again, until 445. So that threat being extended further on off toward the east here now. Across our area. Again, giving you guys a heads up on what's going on. Again, you see our different areas here of wind. I'm going to read off this warning here for you. So at 3:51, see the thunderstorms located on a line extending from near Doran, 7 miles northeast of Boston, moving east at 20 miles an hour. Moultrie, Adel, Valdosta, Hira, as well as Sparks, Norman Park, Doran, Coolidge, Riverside, Sly, Morven there, Berlin, Funston, Barwick, Cecil, Ellington, Green, Beanham State Park. They're all included in this warning. So again, I just have to continue to watch things here in the Weather Center. We're just still trying to give you guys the very latest. I mean, what I was alluding to a moment ago, we could wrap it up here if we don't see quite as much for this, since we're trying not to stay on for quite a minute of the summertime severe warnings, but these today have been pretty impressive overall, more than like what you see at other time of year with the line segments at points. But at least right now we're giving the heads up for Adel and Hira, Berlin here. It's time to be watching this very carefully, and if you're closer to the storm axis, make sure you're inside and away from windows. So again, yeah, that looks a bit stronger now toward the south. Pavo, if I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize. Looks like about the beginning of that. You see around Barney, Morven, Hira, maybe very far north side of Valdosta, maybe getting some of that stronger wind. That looks to be showing up on the Doppler radar. So again, nasty conditions here this afternoon. I see around Moultrie here. That looks like it's kind of weakened a bit, getting some storm merger action. That's why I think. That area to the north's weakened a little bit, but this southern area now, a little more, not completely, but a little more unimpeded here, unimpeded from the south, kind of helping it out a little bit. Not helping us out because storming is nasty for these folks, but helping it out, be a little more significant here. I know. Getting some upscale growth as you look. We don't see this much, but this is your GDR product. It says upscale growth. Storminess. You can see, you know, that was kind of taking off upscale growth, but anyway, interesting to show from time to time. It shows some strong wind, about 55 miles an hour worth, moving toward this area here, right on the Thomas Brooks County line, right around where those decisions have to be made, whether you want to go into town of Moultrie or on the bypass, right there. But again, right here in parts of northeast Thomas County, looks to be more of a focal point now after we had that damage to the west, and it didn't look as strong earlier there as it does right now. So there's your latest scan, jumped up a little more. Now maybe over Barney and Hira here. I mean, it'll take a little bit to get to Hira, so that gets you over pretty rural territory, honestly. But 57 mile an hour wind gusts showing up on velocity, so makes it kind of tough here. If you want to wrap this up, but we'll keep watching this here a little longer. It looks like to the north it's got cut off a little bit. To the south it's starting to become more dominant here at this point. Again, parts of Brooks County, parts of Lowndes County under this. I mean, in total you have parts of Cook, Lowndes, Thomas, Brooks, and Colquitt. But right now we're watching that area from Thomas to Brooks into Lowndes. Not quite as much inward parts of areas north there. I mean, like Colquitt and Cook, but gotta still be careful up there for sure. So again, there's your latest assessment. Trying to give you a look here. High right, Interstate 75. That's still a good ways away. I mean, let's give you, I mean, that's 45 minutes away there from Hira. And this warning, the newest warning, goes for about 45 minutes. So, kind of interesting here. Not a lot of lightning, but definitely some wind in here. Some wind energy. So, again, we're giving you a heads up about this here. No tornado type situation. We've been sticking with it because of all the issues we've been seeing today. The power outage never been as high as you would expect, but a lot of other issues have been pretty nasty here on us. Again, State Road 133 here. Well, we're tracking this. Well, we're tracking this here in South Georgia. Again, latest scan should come in here soon. You can see here that this is some of the areas. These are some of the areas that could be impacted. Let's go back to the broad perspective. I know we have folks like in Live Oak that watch this here. You have some heavier downpours, some lightning there, south side of town, south side of that area here, and those rumbles. I mean, obviously, whenever thunder roars going towards, nothing severe, but some gusty winds. And we had a gust earlier toward Mayo around 41 miles an hour. You see, not as much to the east right now. Tallahassee stuff's kind of weakened some, but I don't give a lot of flooding, by the way. Again, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New Hampshire, New York State. Been outlining that. Vermont there as well. That's a big storyline nationally. Again, let's go back to this perspective. I'm watching that there. Now we're just checking all the different updates. We're getting to that 4 o'clock hour. 4 o'clock hour now on this. It's Sunday. I've been with you for a while today. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center. Again, one thing, this is looking like it could kind of be getting a little bit of development on ahead too. That could, I may not do it much. It may kind of push it down here at first, but maybe it suppresses that wind a little bit from getting down to the surface. It's hard to say, but I think to the north that's happening for sure. You can see how that was standing out more, but south it could still be getting down here. Still seeing pixels at 56 miles an hour, headed toward Barney there, the community of Barney, in parts of Brooks County over the next little bit. The Hira eventually, let's track this on out, 30-45 minutes away from Hira. Okay, so what I think we're going to do, and we should still get some damage in here, but it's a more rural area. We're focused more on that spot of the region. Now, we have a downwind warning as well. Not as much wind, but still could have a little bit of damage there on Adele, but I'm giving you a heads up. I mean, these are the areas in the warning right now. Moultrie, Berlin, Adele, Hira, getting tighter. You see areas there like Morven. Over the next little bit, we could have some wind damage in here. These are more rural spots, but at this point, since we're not seeing something that's just really exceeding severe, we haven't had an overwhelming number of reports. We had reports around Cairo when this first got going, gust a little over 40. We're going to, I think, let this go for now. We're at the top of the hour, 4 o'clock, so maybe get new viewers for a moment. If we don't see a big surge here on this next scan, maybe on velocity, we'll let this go for now. But we're going to keep watching things. We're going to keep tracking things to protect you, your friends, and your family. If we get another warning, we'll be at least posting about it. If not, coming back on, or more concerned, we'll come back on. I see Moultrie just got a gust to 41 at the airport. Let's see exactly where we're at with that then. Oh, down here. So that's a better reading. I was kind of thinking maybe if it was further up. Then, okay, that's should be a pretty good gust on what we're getting. We had 41 there. We had 40 out toward 42 out toward Cairo. I know, so interesting information there. This right now is on 53, 56. As I move my map around, get the right pixels outlined. But so that latest scan, that's from 58 past the hour. You see how it's kind of been jumping around. A little bit of a northerly turn on this, so let's track it a little more like this. Again, hopefully it'll kind of fall off, but still some strong winds all in here, but 40 to 50, but then there could be some gust in here closer to 60. That latest scan there, you see a little bit more of the brighter colors now coming into play around Berlin, so that's a little bit concerning, getting a little bit further up into southern Cook County maybe here over the next little bit. So again, a nasty situation on our hands here with this bowing on out. With this bowing on out, a little bit it would kind of appear in some regards. Not exactly, but And you see some lighter to moderate rains in there at points, but some spots a little heavier, causing some problems for us at home in some of these spots. Again, trying to give you guys the latest. There's your infrared satellite. One perspective on that. You don't see as many cold cloud tops here. Odd set up in a way. Your visible size the clouds out. Just got an update from the Jacksonville office. They're telling us some different things. I don't see them as discussing, but they're saying the next round of scattered, strong, isolated, severe storms are tracking eastward and expected to impact inland southeast Georgia and the Swanee Valley near Live Oak and Lake City through 6 p.m. Main threats of wind gusts to 40 to 60 miles an hour, along with heavier downpours. So that's kind of the storyline right now. They're tracking things again, getting all this latest updates in. Our computers are working they're in overdrive here at this point. So again, let's just go ahead and continue to watch things here. Latest scan. So still the bright colors, these lighter greens indicative of winds close to that severe rain. I mean, from Berlin down through parts of northern Brooks County. So again, a nasty situation here for sure. That latest pick's a little bit stronger now, moving from Berlin to Cecil. So seeing some fluctuations in here. That's up to 57 miles an hour. Again, trying to wrap this up. We just see things keep popping up on us that give us some cause for concern here. We got to stay on to protect you, your friends, and your family here for at least a little longer. So that's what we're doing here at Cloud Weather this afternoon. So again, it's just very important here to give you guys the very latest here. Very latest situational updates for you. So that's where the worst of the wind is, right in here. Especially right in here, I think. You see where it kind of went from there. So let's just kind of track it from right up here, maybe to right here. And the track takes you closer to Yara than down here. You kind of get the idea with this area here over the next little bit. So that's a 1 hour look. Let's just kind of try this out for 2 hours into Lanier and into Ward Clinton County, into Ward 3 hour, Ware County, Charlton County. I mean, it may move a little quicker than that or fade, but see. Just kind of giving you guys an idea of what could happen. So Berlin there, winds 57 miles an hour there. The gust, 55 here. So on up in Northern Brooks again. So then Colquitt, Northern Brooks, and then moving into Ward. There's a Cook County here as well over the next little bit. Maybe south of Adel though more than anything. More south of Adel than anything here at this point, but we'll just keep watching, we'll just keep tracking. You never know what can happen. That's why we're on top of things here in the Weather Center to protect you, your friends, and your family. Again, not a lot of hail with this. We talked about that earlier on, but this is kind of a little bit further back in some of this than what we saw with this stuff earlier. Jacksonville is right on that leading edge. Kind of interesting how the winds kind of displace different spots sometimes, move around, I should say. I mean, displacement's more about the radar, but move around sometimes and then the storminess. So, again, that's kind of what we're dealing with here in this type of setup. Again, you see there south of Berlin. You see these winds here. Definitely some bright pixels in here. And definitely a cause for concern eventually toward I-75, but Barney, Cecil, Hihara here look to be kind of where we're most concerned. Maybe Ray City later, and Lakeland and Barrett's, maybe Sermons. Maybe it gets closer to Adel. Maybe this kind of filters in and gets a little stronger. Not completely out of the question here. So, gotta keep that in mind. We still see some strong pixels in here, 56 miles an hour on some of these pixels. So that's what the brighter greens and light greens represent here. At this point, we're continuing to be live on YouTube at Cloud Weather. Meteorologist Casey Cloud there. And another way to find out is just searching those terms there on the YouTube search bar there. I know if you haven't already hit that subscribe button there, you can make an account that's free and then hit that subscribe button. It helps YouTube push this out to more folks. They can see the coverage here as needed. And if you hit that bell icon there, go in there and do that. And if you set it, you can set it a certain way and get all the notifications about my live updates that way. I know there's other ways. Facebook there, Casey Cloud Every X, Facebook Clouds Weather, and then you have Twitter at Cloud Casey, Twitch there, Cloud Weather. There's some different ways here. You can watch the coverage as well. I know YouTube's something where it has DVR functionality. You can back it up, go forward there in the feed, and then you can also, even again get the notifications easier, a little more simply there. And you can watch that on Roku, your Roku device through YouTube. So YouTube at Clouds Weather there. That's youtube.com/@CloudsWeather. One of our preferred methods here, really, in terms of our live coverage. Of course, still follow Twitter there at Cloud Casey and Facebook Casey Cloud Every X or Facebook Clouds Weather, because we post information about the warnings here that come across for the local areas as well. But it's just, I know YouTube's kind of a preferred method here. You're able to watch it different ways. I know we got to stick with this. That is really strengthened on us. I was hoping we could wrap it, but that's really strengthening now. It's moving towards Barney. We're now seeing winds of 60 miles an hour showing up on the Doppler. So severe limits. And that's not that far from the radar side either. Radar's over here, by the way. And we have to be careful around Barney and Hira here. This moves closer on over the next little bit. So some nastier wind here. You can see as we're getting closer toward Barney over the next little bit. Barney here in northern parts of Brooks County. Again, these winds here, these bright colors indicative of a pretty good little area of 60-mile-an-hour gusts. That's not something you see all the time here. Right into the intersection, it looks like State Road 33 and State Road 94. That's where this is right now, pretty much. Some nasty conditions. We've got to take heed here. Let's go ahead and zoom back out. We're just trying to give you guys the very latest here to protect you, your friends, and your family. Let me go ahead and keep on checking some of our different sources here this afternoon. It's all about effort and all that information to you, the viewer at home. We're looking here. I know Florida outage numbers. Leon County, not too impressive. But some outages there. Duval, a little bit more impressive, as we talked about earlier on. Again, Georgia numbers, 319 Grady at the last check, 93 Thomas. But some of these may not be factoring in. The latest information, and I know we had some issues with FP&L showing up in there too. In Georgia, and a little bit different providers, but still, maybe having some other issues in there to some degree with those readings. But again, got to be taking this seriously here with a pixel area that really is well defined on velocity wind mode like that. So again, it's something to keep in mind here. You can see Barney next few minutes. Barney, Georgia. A well-defined corridor of winds that could be damaging in nature now. Based on this 58 plus is what generally, quickly becomes what we consider damaging here. We're seeing winds over that now. I mean, there's from there to there through about here. I mean, you see this area here, it's pretty nasty. I mean, you get this bright color to pop out like this, and that's problematic. Right on the leading edge, too. Right on the edge there now, that latest scan, when that folds back a little bit. Right there, right just north of State Road 122. So we got to stay with this right now to protect you, your friends, and your family. So, again, around Barney here over the next little bit. Again, that's moving on into Barney here, the community of Barney, Georgia, as we speak there. So, again, you don't want to see stuff like this, but we have to be with you guys. We have a threat like this here. Looks like that town there in incorporated is an unincorporated community in Brooks County. We're talking about not too many people living there, but still a scenario here where we have some problems with storming that's coming on through. So again, this is some nasty wind that seems to be likely to be occurring. Already had a damage in Cairo, and the history of the problems and now looks stronger than it was in Cairo based on this. The radar angles can change things up. Definitely could have some trees getting knocked down around Barney here, and then eventually in toward parts of northern Lowndes County, of Lanier County possibly here with this. If we hold this together a real long time, let's try this further off, and then that's Lanier County within an hour. That's 2 hours toward Homerville, give or take, and then 3 hours you get it more rural and areas south of Waycross. Look at those temperatures, 94 in Waycross, 91 Homerville, 93 Moody Air Force Base. That's a lot of energy for this to work with. There's some other factors that come into play too, and models showing it weakening on down, but not seeing that right now. So I gotta be really careful here. Gotta be really careful. We're just gonna continue to watch things, continue to monitor them. Give you guys the latest. You have some storm units around I-10 in Suwannee County. That's strong, but currently not severe. Again, a nasty situation there. Again, but again, not severe in nature. So really, I mean, there's really two complexes we're watching. That one and the other one in Georgia. I mean, there's some stuff around Albany there too that's trying to get going. A little cool up there. I mean, but you see Douglas, not as cool. Depends on where you're at, really. Let's see some of our temperatures. I mean, you see that, and it's really not that much cooler as you look, but I'm looking at Albany, and there's not many spots in between there. Tipton, for whatever reason, didn't have a number show up there, unfortunately, but you do see it's not really that much cooler as we look, but maybe just kind of seeing that rain cooler, kind of giving us an illusion a little bit. Again, continuing to watch things. I mean, energy is reduced a little bit up here, but you kind of get the idea. We're just continuing to watch things, give you the latest to protect you, your friends, and your family. See how South Georgia hadn't had a rain like North Florida. Things worked over last 12 hours in North Florida. Many spots. I mean, look at that covered. I mean, last 12 hours, most spots have had some rain here today in North Florida. I mean, that's almost everybody. I mean, there's a few spots that didn't get anything, but that's a lot of backyard to get rain. When you have the green, that's light green, that's at least some rain. Based on radar estimates, but those blues, some of those areas closer to an inch in the blues. I mean, look like what Wakulla County, some spots getting 2-3 inches there, and those reds there, that's west of Crawfordville. Crawfordville not quite as much, but interesting to see. In Georgia, though, not as much, and I mean, things haven't been worked over as much. The atmosphere a little more primed here, despite what the models are saying. This could be an issue here as we get all the way through Waycross, and let's hope it doesn't stay that way, but it may not. I'm hoping the models are onto something, but you never know here in this type of setup. So, this time of year and this unique setup we're in right now. But moving east at 20, so that's a pretty slow move as we've outlined. So if this were to somehow hold together all the way across the rest of Georgia, that's into 5 hours. We don't want to do another 5 hours. I don't think you guys really want to have to be concerned with this for another 5 hours. I don't think we will be concerned with another 5 hours, but we're just going to have to continue to watch things here in the weather center. I mean, it's getting even stronger now. Velocity, folks, this is not going away. This is not going away. It's now showing winds closer to 70 now, so we're almost getting, they haven't updated it yet to considerable. They're still going to base, but we're almost going to considerable damage type numbers now. These are the highest numbers we've seen all day, folks. I mean, these are probably the highest we have seen all day. Just here north of Barney here in parts of Brooks County. So this is some dangerous stuff that we're dealing with. I mean, we're now seeing pixels here approaching 70 miles an hour. Winds approaching 70, according to radar, north side of Barney here in part of Brooks County. So it's going to move into word areas there between Cecil and Hahira. And you have areas between Ray City and Barrett and Lakeland, Georgia. Some nasty weather. Gotta be cognizant of that. 4:15, severe thunderstorms located along a line extending from near Doe Run to near Quitman. Moving east at 20, according to Weather Service. Adele, Moultrie, Valdosta, Hahira, Sparks, Norman Park, Berlin, Cecil, Ellington, Greenbelt State Park, Cook County Airport, Barney, Cool Spring, Pineborough, Greggs, Pine Valley, Flat Ford, and Spence Airport into this. I know with all these warnings today, you're probably wondering, well, we're not under a severe thunderstorm watch, but it's still, stuff's kind of still hit and miss in some way because this is the area that's really taken off. It's in the unfortunately the most ripe corridor for this stuff to be getting going, and it could have some damage to roof, side, and trees here in this area. So to the south, we're being told that they're going to have to reissue the special weather statement because even though it doesn't look all that impressive here, they're saying that a resident site is reported a gust of 44 in Live Oak, so they're going to reissue a special weather statement for 40 to 50 mile-an-hour winds for the storm clusters. So that's the word Live Oak and Lake City there. This is severe. This could be causing quite a bit of damage. I mean, 67 mile-an-hour winds showing up right in here now. It could be a really heck of a storm for folks in northern Brooks County. And again, Hihara to Cecil. Nobody needs to be driving on the interstate in this area right now. This is dangerous. We don't have any cameras we can go to on the live views. We have those focused in Florida there. We can go to those. But still, Cecil to Hihara. Nobody needs to be driving on I-75 right now. This is some really nasty wind coming on through here. Nasty wind here coming on through. You can't mess around there around Barney though at this moment. You're already getting the impact. But Cecil to Hihara here over the next little bit. This is some nasty stuff that's coming on through here. Some nasty wind that's really escalating on us here. This is a really nasty area of wind here. These brighter colors indicative of more damage potential here. More damage potential. That's even looks like it's expanded now a little bit. So this is about to be along the interstate, folks. This is dangerous. You cannot mess around there. And they're going to have to reissue, I'm sure, at this point. There's almost no doubt they'll be reissuing. Not even a lot of lightning with this, but yet this is some really serious winds showing up. 67 miles an hour gust type of situation we're seeing right now. By the way, not in our area, but I will go ahead and quickly break away from this. I mentioned it. Tornado warning North Carolina right now. Onslow County. Just being issued. So from a national perspective, let's just talk about that really quickly here. Pattern producing a couple tornado warnings there up in that state. You see around North Topsail Beach, we're getting some rotation right now on the Doppler algorithm. So possible tornado in that area. Seaview Pier, Onslow Beach, and Sneed's Ferry here to about 445. Holly Ridge too, a threat. So some rotation there, some rotation in this area that we're having to watch on the Doppler. We'll keep you up to date. Okay, we just got a new warning now for this area in our viewing circle. And guess what? It goes all the way to 545 now. All the way to 545. So that's about to pop up with a new yellow box on the screen here. There you go. Berry and Colquitt, Cookland, nearing Lowndes until 545 now. So this is not going away here at this point. It's not going away. The danger that folks are in here. They're still going 60 with the warning, but definitely I couldn't rule out a gust a little bit higher, but at least damaging winds, which you can be arbitrary a little bit in play here, and you got to be really careful. You got to be inside, away from windows. Central Cook County, Berrien County, Lanier County, Northeastern Lowndes County, Northeastern Colquitt County until 545. We hope it doesn't hold together this long, but it could hold together. That long it could hold together further east even longer. That really gets us to the rest of the Tallahassee areas, by the way, more Jacksonville areas for the eastern jurisdiction of Weather Service, but Nashville, Lakeland, Valdosta, Adel, Sparks, Race City, Lenox, Moody Air Force Base, Meigs, Barrett, New Lois, Massey, Wagon Wheel, Lord Hansel, Allenville's in there. You have Teeterville, you have Naylor. So you kind of get the idea of what we're dealing with. Nasty conditions. You see around Barney here. You see around Barney, we're seeing some nasty weather in play at this hour. So again, some severe winds moving on in. Maybe we'll get lucky and things will ultimately break down on us. But right now, that's not really happening. Barney to Cecil to Hira. You could be having trees falling on power lines. So if you're in Race City and Barrett, making Lakeland, charge of those devices here. especially those areas. I mean, you have some nasty conditions headed your way. Let's see what we're dealing with. We're being told by the Jacksonville office they're getting concerned for later. I know it's way early, but they're really concerned even for later. They might have just a warning for areas these past that 545 benchmark toward Clinton Atkinson counties as the storm trends continue, with the radar showing the 50 to 60 knot inbound velocities and the storm just west of Moody Air Force Base. So again, this stuff is not going away in this corridor here this afternoon, causing us problems here, disrupting that Sunday. Unfortunately, it's a day and weekend period that you like to get rest in, and unfortunately today we're having to stick with you to protect you, your friends, and your family because of a more inclement, more dangerous situation on our hands. So again, you see the warm temperatures. This is like jet fuel for this storminess here, and there's other factors too, but right now it's not letting up. It's not going away here. As we're being told in Colquitt County, a tree there was down 4 miles southeast of the Spence Airport. So this is a damaging situation, and we could have more damage right now. People could be listening to our coverage in theory, and they could be hearing tree limbs falling, or I mean, not even out of the question, some trees falling there. So could be losing power. Just kind of painting that picture here. Make sure charge those devices. You can watch always on your phone here if you're not watching on your computer or your Roku device or one of those connected devices. You can watch on your phone if you have that power and the internet connects in there in place. So take it in your safe room if you feel like you need to get in more of a tornado safe spot. I know there's no tornado warning here, but these winds are approaching lower levels of a weaker type tornado situation. So over a little broader area, if these were to verify, this is 60-mile-an-hour wind showing up at it, crossing the interstate. You do not need to be driving right now on the interstate between about Cecil and Hira here. This is some nasty stuff. Nasty winds coming on through here across parts of the area. So can't be letting your guard down here. Cecil and Hira here. This is some really, it's right now, I mean, they're blinding downwards. The wind is probably blowing that rain sideways. We can't go to live cameras in Georgia, but we just can paint the picture for you. This is probably not what you want to see. Probably have some of that debris like what we saw in Florida, maybe even a little more so flying around there. Some tree debris, things like that. So gotta be really careful here. See, so they hire along this interstate corridor. So again, nasty stuff that we're dealing with for sure. You can see these pixels here. 65 miles an hour type of gust there in play. Just can't be letting your guard down here. I hope nobody, I mean, there's some people driving there for sure. It's the weekend, summer, but hopefully we had a limited number of folks driving in this area right now because talking about dangerous stuff. I mean, just thinking back, I mean, been there on that part of the interstate in the summer myself before, and I mean, some of that, I mean, was even before really internet. I mean, going back, I mean, I think back a few years, but then we had internet phone apps with light, but I mean, I'm thinking back like 10, 20 years, I mean, even, and you just kind of a situation here, especially 20 years ago, we're not going to have near as much information, and we don't know exactly what's going on. Maybe listen to that with the radio and find out, but again, nowadays you have that more advanced notice here, and kind of a figure things out here around here higher. I'm talking about like if you're on the road, unless you have like a weather radio with you. Back then you wouldn't know, but nowadays you have a little bit more of a method for finding things out with the smartphones out there, and that's really important here for everybody. But you can't be on them when you're driving. It's just you know, if you're about to head out somewhere or stop for a moment on an exit, something like that, you'll be able to check the radar. So, and maybe watch this coverage like you're maybe doing right now. So, thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me, though. If you're watching Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, we're here to protect you guys and try to get you home and try to get you to places. And even if you're at home, try to just be safe. So, can't guarantee it, but we're trying our best. So. Again, I know we have a viewer there, Don from Hira. Don from Adele, excuse me. Don from Adele there watching. Thanks so much. So for tuning in here. Let me zoom out a little bit on our scan to see Adele. You see not quite as strong a wind up here. You see US 41 there. Winds to about 40 miles an hour or so. Slowing up on velocity, but the corridor where we have the worst is from Cecil to Hahira there. Cecil to Hahira. Seeing winds closer to 60, maybe plus that by a little bit. In excess of that, just a little bit there. Cecil to Hahira. So, again, we're just going to keep looking at things here. You see our track with the worst of this. Ray City to Barris to Lakeland. Still heavy downpours on Adele, though, no doubt. And some possibility to light. You don't see a lot on the radar, but there's always that chance. And then all these gusty winds here. Can't run a power outage, but the greatest threat would be down here, where this is kind of blowing on out. You see our velocities here really honing in here. When you're in a warning, you still gotta be careful. That goes up to the north. But again, we're Hahira and Cecil. We're just gonna keep watching things, keep monitoring things here in the Weather Center to protect you, your friends, and your families. Again, trying to effort the latest details here. Check my sources. Nothing new on the main source here. Our chat session, trying to get you all that valuable information so we can protect you guys, inform you guys that are across our 62 counties. But look in Leon County, 312 customers. We had on one power outage US source. You have Georgia County, already a few hundred customers in Dark Thomas, about over 100, worth about 64. So the other county not really showing up yet, and so the numbers may be a little low as possible. I mean, it's probably going to be going up here with that corridor, that ball really of wind here. I mean, it's just not going away. Not going away here, folks. For now, US 41. I-75, some dangerous conditions here moving across our viewing circle right now. So that's why I'm going to stay with you guys for so long here. Stick with you guys for so long. Now you can see, I think they've gone down. Maybe, I mean, if you look at the pixels, instead of 68, 67, we have 65 peeking out now, but not much of a difference here at this point. And it's one warning, eventually it'll be dropped back to the west, but it can't be yet. Still got some of this stuff lingering in it. We're moving toward the east here. We got Lanier County. We got Northern Lowndes County here under this threat. So can't be letting our guard down. That's your hour track. Let me see if I can update that. Okay, update a little, but you can see there. We're going toward Lakeland here. Lakeland, Georgia, not Lakeland, Florida. We don't cover Lakeland, Florida. We have a big Florida story. We talk about it. But Lakeland, Georgia is within our 62 counties of the community. There, that's in Lanier County, but you see, looking here, that's 15 minutes. That is getting us out here 30, 45 an hour. I know going back, I guess it was 2012, we had that really significant tornado up there in Lakeland, Georgia, and thankfully, we're not seeing a situation like that now, but still, some nasty conditions headed your way. So, again, let's just continue to watch things here on our scans. We're just going to keep checking things out. Let me go ahead and see here. Just go ahead and check some latest information. Again, we don't want to overhype things here, especially this time of year. Things can happen that are pretty nasty, but situations like this, we have to stick with you because of the velocity being so aggressive here for so long. It's just not going away. These are some very bright colors on base velocity. We don't get to this height very often. So we probably are getting a lot of this wind down to the surface. We're getting tree damage. We're probably getting some power line damage here, you would suspect. Can't guarantee it, but Ray City to Barrett here, Lakeland over the next little bit. Again, this is some nasty stuff coming on through. Some dangerous weather coming on through. South Central Georgia, and obviously we'll be watching that to see if it holds together in the Southeast Georgia. Here, hopefully it doesn't, but it's not out of the question. So that's something that could be getting into the ward. Clinton County, which officially I guess would be Southeast Georgia here. That could be within the next hour by about 5:30 or so. We'll see how the speed adjusts. But again, kind of the storyline right now. That's what we're kind of seeing here on our Doppler radar visuals. So again, just continuing to give you guys the very latest. You can see around Cicera, look at all that wind there. Look at all that wind. You see Barrett's there in line of concern as well. Gotta be inside and over these areas. I'm not seeing really much on correlation coefficient, which is good. Sometimes in a stronger wind situation, you're starting to get something to kind of come up here because there's a lot of wind damage. I don't see that right now, but that's not something you can guarantee. But again, just continuing to watch things here. We're gonna keep looking, keep tracking here. Now there's your Moody Air Force Base there under this here, and that new warning again goes for areas there: Nashville, Lakeland, Valdosta, Adel, Sparks, Ray City, Lenox, Moody Air Force Base, Meigs, Barrett, New Lois, Massey, Wagon Wheel, Hansel, Allenville, Naylor. It's one of those examples of the communities. Again, I see there's now confirmed tornado possibilities, at least up toward North Carolina. Let's go back up there for a moment. I don't want to confuse you guys here too much. I know we're going to be talking about a little bit. Looks like the word Jacksonville, North Carolina in a minute. Don't want to kind of confuse you too much, but I know just looking at things here. I know we have Jacksonville, Georgia, but let's go to Jacksonville, North Carolina. We have Jacksonville, Florida. That's in our area, but this is south of Jacksonville, North Carolina, where they confirmed Polygon, but I don't know if I actually went confirmed on this because it looks like it's just because of the weather spotters confirming a wall cloud. So definitely a threat though around North Topsail Beach. Rotating wall cloud over to Seaview Pier. So gotta be careful in that area. National story, the only tornado warning in play right now. A little hook on this here, right along the coast. Onslow County. Again, something that's kind of interesting from the national perspective here. I will keep our eyes on it. You see a little core, some of the areas there, but still the storyline. Keep following this flooding to the north. A lot of flash flood warnings, a lot of considerable threats in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, some of those states. Nothing in terms of like a flash flood emergency yet, but that could end up that's something that's coming later on. Could be coming, hopefully not, but we'll let you know if we need to. I mean, we wouldn't probably be breaking in for something like that. We'd be retweeting it on Twitter at Cloud Casey if it's something that's really over like a real highly popular area or something that's really gotten just really terrible in terms of a bigger national story. But again, just continuing to watch things, continuing to monitor them. Latest scan, I mean, it's still not, maybe it's slightly weaker, but it's just getting closer to the radar here too. So, I mean, we want to be able to wrap this up. We've been talking a really long time, a little longer than we thought we might have to today. Timing a little bit different too than what we were expecting, but this is how it goes. And whether you got to expect the unexpected sometimes. That's what we're on right now to protect you, your friends, and your family. And we had to thread again though. It's just timing kind of and the overall setup a little bit different than what we were thinking, a little bit different. So again, 4:36 now is that time. If there's any questions for any of our viewers at home. Don't see anything right now. Again, Adel, some heavy rain. There may be some issues with the wash toward the south, it would seem, based on our technology. Can't guarantee it, but that's what it looks like. So Thomas County, a couple trees blown down along dirt roads there. 3:55 or so the time on that. So definitely some winds coming through there in towards South Georgia on this Sunday afternoon. So again, I just continuing to give you guys the very latest. You see, that's the only areas of warnings here that we have. The only area of warning, let's just say. I see there is a report out of Swanee County that a thunderstorm wind gusts to 44 miles an hour around 4 o'clock. That was reported there. there in the ward this morning, River Valley. Not severe, but thunderstorms down there in north central Florida, that vicinity. Just go ahead and zoom back out a little bit. You saw that, now zoom in. So that's when we're kind of focusing now toward areas there north of Idosta, just east of Hira now. I'll be curious to hear about damage reports in and around 75, Interstate 75 and Hira and Cecil. But you can see here moving toward Bainbridge now. I mean, we still have pixels closer to 65. I know we're being told now out of the Cook County Emergency Management that there's a 35-mile-an-hour wind gust near Cook County High School, and several power outages on the east side of the county are coming on in. So, be interesting to hear. I'm a little surprised, maybe more if it's not the southern part of the county, but they're saying east side again. Radar's not always perfect, but may end up having some in the south side of the county and this in the east side, or they could be southeast. You never know. But also northern parts of our vicinity there. Like I said, we talked about areas there in Lowndes County being impacted here. Just point the latest scan. I mean, you see the really bright colors a little less together, but it's because partly we're under 1,000 feet up, which to get a number showing up this what I find here moving toward Bainbridge is concerning. To be that low to the ground and still getting winds that strong showing up. I mean, it'd be nice if we had a situation where that this wind wouldn't really coming into play, but seems like it is. So we got to take it seriously here on the Sunday afternoon. Let's go ahead and move back around. We'll go back over to the broad view again. You have some stuff around I-75 in north central Florida. Not severe, not terribly strong toward the south, but north there around like Lake City, Live Oak, a little bit stronger wind based on the indications from the Weather Service. I mean, earlier on we had a gust of 30 down here used to start. Weren't really expecting something overwhelming. It wasn't overwhelming, but it was pretty low down to the ground to get a high of a gust there where we're at on our thermometer. And that was something that didn't even have a special weather statement officially at that point in place. So things can be really tricky here this time of year is what I'm trying to mention. But again, zooming back out. Just trying to give you the latest. We're trying to give you the latest to protect you, your friends, and your family here on this Sunday afternoon. Been on this stream for about almost 2.5 hours now. We're on for about an hour later. And it's about giving you guys the important information you need. Again, Barrett's here. We're going towards southern Lanier County over the next little bit. You can see eventually, I mean, if this holds together, you have Lakeland, of course, but then DuPont and Homerville, based on the latest assessment here. And then we get in more rural areas after that. But I mean, you see, that's 1 hour track. That's a 2 hour track. And then that's a 3 hour track. So, again, do that one more time. I'll do it from the leading edge of this, under the heaviest wind. It's showing up right now. So 1 hour. That's like 30 minutes. Lakeland there, give or take. Homerville, like an hour and a half, give or take. And you more rural for a while. And so then we're up, it holds together. And that'd be good, because if it's just in that type of land, it's not too strong. That's really talking about Okefenokee swamp land as we get further out here, so to some extent. But again, continue to watch things. Again, you see where we're at right now, the topography, and then later on, you see these are some of the areas. I know I'm zooming way, probably too far around. We've been on for so long, and it kind of losing our geographic sense here just a little, but you can kind of see the idea of what we're looking at here. So there's different areas in South Georgia. So again, you see Lanier County. You see Lakeland here. You see areas in north of Barrett. Dealing with this danger here on this Sunday afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and just keep on giving you guys the latest on that, but let's real quick transition to the north on the national storyline then. Since I've been with you for so long, you might be curious about what's going on in eastern North Carolina with that tornado warning in Onslow County here. At this point, the rotating wall cloud reported over Seaview Pier. Warning issued by the Newport Moorhead City office going for another 3 minutes. severe thunderstorm watch in the pink. You have flash flood warnings in the dark green, but then that threat gets more considerable in those maroon colors. One there, more considerable as we look toward areas there. It looks like Westmoreland County in East Central Virginia. We have another one there, just west side of Philly per se, maybe just west of Philly proper. Chester, Delaware, and Montgomery counties until 5:30. You see another considerable threat, life-threatening Berkeley, Lehigh, Chester, Montgomery counties to 9:45. Burke County to 7:15. Try to move around here. There's so many of these, you can just click and kind of lose your sense on them. But again, we have flash flooding, Bucks County there, around Quakertown. You have flash flood warning there. Further up, Hunterdon, Moore, Somerset, and Warren counties in New Jersey. Considerable threat, life-threatening situation. Another life-threatening situation in Bergen, Passaic, Rockland County there, New Jersey to New York. Then we have another life-threatening flash flooding situation in northern Sussex County in northwestern New Jersey. You have Orange and Putnam counties in New York there, life-threatening flash flooding situation there too. Zoom on in real quick here and get you a little bit better perspective. I mean, you have basement flooding there, Orange County, New York. Some of these areas in the New York TV market. 2 people trapped in floodwaters around Highlands Falls. So some big national stories. Base of a bridge is washed out there. 2 people, again, we talked about trapped. I think there's maybe multiple reports of that in there, but that's kind of storyline there. Let's get back home now into Doppler in just a moment after we give you a look at another significant flash flooding threat in southern New Hampshire, life-threatening flash flooding there. Not too far away from areas, I mean, we're talking about areas like Winchester there involved, and just got some new information from a local thread. So let's get back to the south. I'm just getting about 3 different things that came in locally while we did that. So let's go ahead and get back local. First off, we get an update from emergency management in parts of, it looks like the Cook County area. A tree was knocked on a power line on Overstreet Road. Knocked the trees down in Cecil on Highway 41, and a tree across the railroad tracks in Cecil at Fellowship Road. Gust of 39 at Lake City Airport. That's about 4:35. Strong storms are not severe, but then new severe for Lanier and Lowndes until 5:45. So that's going further south now then. It would appear, yeah. Further south with a new warning in play, including Valdosta now. So again, that's another hour. Let's go ahead and see what we're talking about around Valdosta. A little bit of stronger one coming in. I know it didn't look as strong as it was, but that's probably because we're so close on the radar. It'd be nice if we get on the other side of the radar and then we don't get the grains to reemerge, and then we'll have seen the situation where the winds have weakened, but we can't take that chance right now. We're getting the more populated areas for a little bit here, and again, we're tracking across our Georgia areas here with this. See around Valdosta. See around Valdosta. Again, this is a new warning until 5:45. 4:43, a severe thunderstorm is located over I-75 at exit 16. Or near Valdosta, moving east at 30 miles an hour. Lake Park, Valdosta, I-75 at exit 16. Remerton, Dasher, I-75 at exit 5. Twin Lakes, Clyattville, I-75 at exit 11. Valdosta Airport and Kinderloo. Up to the north here, this warning goes until 5:45 for parts of Cook, Berry and Lanier, Lowndes and Colquitt. We had a gust there, you see, at the Moody Air Force Base to about only 36 so far, which honestly, considering how things are going, got lucky here in some ways. It could have been stronger than that around there. It might be a sign that these winds aren't quite as bad, but it looks like the worst you saw me mentioned here, if you're listening, or at least the reports on Cecil, that's where we had the damage. And we were focusing on them so strongly, it would seem like they had some of the worst just go to the north, but it looks weaker, but that could just again be an illusion because we're so close to the radar now. I'll go up a little and tilt. I mean, even if you go up until you can kind of see still some of the brightness there for a little bit, indicating a little bit stronger winds. So Gotta be careful, gotta be mindful here this afternoon. They've been on for a long time to protect you, your friends, and your family. It's really important to be on here to give you guys the latest in situations like this. So, again, I know a significant advisory just being issued for parts of Atkinson, Clinch, Eccles, and Ware until 5:30. So that either is going to be a preliminary advisory type statement saying they might issue a warning here soon, or what I mean by that, or it could just be something we're going to go and issue that similar lines of thinking, but they could issue it here, issue it with the winds just under, and then so they could upgrade, which pretty similar story. Or maybe they're just thinking that the winds have weakened some and they're just going to go with a significant advisory, but we'll see. We'll see how this progresses. Maybe we'll get lucky, but trees down in Cecil on Highway 41. We didn't get lucky there. 429 and a tree across the railroad tracks in Cecil at Fellowship Road, and at 437 a tree down on a power line on Overstreet Road 2 miles west of Massey. So those winds were getting down to that surface. Not what you want to see, not what you want to hear, obviously. So definitely problematic here for those folks as we continue to watch things, continue to give you guys the very latest. So again, looking at some of these brighter colors in here. Just trying to give you the latest views to you with the winds and the like here. Again, dealing with some nasty weather. These winds up to about 50 right now near US 221, but again, they could be a little bit stronger. There's your preliminary. They're saying 45 to 55 at least. They're not saying the other language yet, but they might upgrade, but they definitely can. Another thing I see here, I don't know if that's a boundary, and I'm not sure if that's just something. It looks like it's been there a little while. I was hoping maybe we get a situation where there's some type of boundary interacts and kind of weaken this, but you never know. We're right at the radar right now, so it's going to be kind of hard to know. But again, let's go to Jacksonville radar for a minute. I just want to see what it's showing us, because it might give us a good view of things. Probably not. But yeah, it's not giving us that good of a view. But some stronger winds in there. Some stronger winds in there for sure. Trying to give you guys the very latest here. I mean, if we had this view and we were further from the radar, I'd feel a little bit better, but we're so close right now. We're kind of getting that obstruction here. We have the damage reports to the west, so really probably wouldn't be a good idea to wrap it here at this point based on that line of thinking. So could to begin winds a little bit stronger. We're just kind of being a little bit obscured here based on the current scans. We just have to continue to watch things here. That latest scan a little bit stronger maybe. That's at least winds about 53, very close to the surface. On that, that's only 500 feet up, and we're seeing winds to about 54 miles an hour showing up there, right near US 221. So again, that's some nasty wind. 58 to severe criteria. Things escalate pretty quickly with damage once you get there. I mean, it's kind of like earthquakes in the magnitude. I mean, things exponentially get more significant in that regard when you have the higher winds. So, but also we have this warning here as well. Be interesting to see what comes of this here around Lowndes County. I mean, some nasty winds there around Valdosta, like Park, Valdosta, I-75 at exit 16, Bremerton, Dasser, I-75 exit 5, Twin Lakes, Clattville. Kind of get the idea. Valdosta Airport, exit 11 there along the interstate. Again, see some of these winds coming on through, causing some problems here. Causing some problems that we're continuing to deal with. So on up and tilt a little. You see how you brighter color to some degree, but maybe it's a situation here we'll get lucky. All that it's up to see what they were at tilt. I mean, it'd be a little bit higher still, but to go further, I mean, you kind of saw it there. Looks like it might be weakening, but you never know. You never know in this type of setup. You never know in this type of situation. You can't lay your guard down. We're just in an odd spot on the radar. I mean, it might just be wistful thinking. It'd be nice if it wasn't. But again, you just never know here. Again, we're just trying to give you guys the very latest to provide you guys updates to protect you, your friends, and your family. We're live on YouTube right now there at Cloud Weather. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure you do so. Make sure you have it set so you get all of our notifications for our coverage here. Then we have, of course, we're on Facebook, Casey Cloud WX, Facebook, Clouds Weather, and Twitch there. Clouds Weather, all those different important platforms here to give you guys the latest when dangerous weather conditions strike. So that potential at least is there. So let's see what type of outages we're getting on the numbers there out of Cook. Some of those areas around there right now. Georgia numbers, poweradded.us, at least showing more of a concentration. I mean, in terms of percentage in Brooks, but a lot less track there. Grady, 292 customers. Thomas, 143. Brooks, 96. 47 Cook right now. Might be underdone, 65 Worth. Probably underdone a little, but we'll keep checking. That's poweradded.us. But again, I know most of the power companies you can track. Some of them you can't. I know right around Stark, you can't track them, unfortunately. That makes it a little harder sometimes. We had a couple tornadoes come through, one in 2020, one in 2021. And the other grids didn't really show people in the dark, but a lot of people in the dark on some of those areas there on that grid, and I ended up having tornadoes come through. So you just never know. We're getting more information. Brooks County there, 911 call center reporting a tree down near 1,190 Ion Church Road there. So that's kind of the storyline there. Brooks County getting a tree reported down there. So definitely having some issues. See all the different reports really starting to accumulate back toward the west. As we continue to watch things here, continue to monitor things. We're just going to keep looking here. Trying to do the best we can to keep you guys safe and informed. Let's go back to the broad view. I know we're seeing the stuff here. See a big gap, not much for a while around Savannah, but then you get toward North Carolina. The tornado warning is gone, thankfully, up there right now, which is good. But all these room boxes as we get further up there, these are threats where we could have life-threatening flash flooding. We're now even being told that in New York State, Orange County, New York, a portion of US 6 has collapsed near the traffic circle west of the Palisades Interstate Parkway. So it's not what we want to hear. All this rain just coming down here. You see some of these different areas here the last 12 hours. Look at that. That's a lot for New York State. I mean, we may get close to, may get a flash flood emergency pretty soon with this type of rain. 6-7 inches. This might be underdoing it a little, even sometimes a little conservative with the rain. This last 12 hours at least, or maybe even shorter time frame than that. But you see that's south of Poughkeepsie there. Poughkeepsie there, if I'm pronouncing that right. Poughkeepsie, I guess. It's probably the better way to say it. So I'm doing pretty good on pronunciations for those areas up there. But may not be 100%. But again, continuing to watch things. I know. Just seeing our different views here of the radar. Again, that's a lot of serious flooding. Got to remember, if you're watching from that area right now, in a national perspective, just remember, turn around, don't drown. Very important. Because I don't want to see folks lose their life in these type of situations. If you can't see the depth there, the water on the road, turn around, don't drown. Again, going back to the south, you see there's a considerable severe thunderstorm threat toward parts of Jones and Onslow counties there until 5:15, 70-mile-an-hour gusts possible in that orange box there. Jones and Onslow counties, but these are yellow boxes here, a little less, but so dangerous, obviously. Had all the damage here further off toward the west. Some power outages, not overwhelming, but some. Again, if we weren't right on the radar site here, I would say this was weakening, but you can't really tell because we're getting pretty good numbers, 47 miles an hour for just above the surface here. That's a lot of wind, really. Not as much, I mean, lightning as it could be, but see, there's a few strikes there. We have some of the stronger wind picks in southern Lanier County. So, again, that's kind of your storyline there. Whenever thunder roars, go indoors, but sometimes you don't have enough. I mean, you're not getting that in the other public. You're going to have a thunderstorm warning, don't have any lightning. Yeah, you got to go inside. You got to be away from windows because of the wind threat there on Valdosta, Dash, or Lake Park. Don't think it's as overwhelming as what we saw to the north around Cecil, but still, again, some nasty, nasty weather conditions. Again, it's all about protecting you, your friends, and your family. We'll see if Jacksonville extends a warning soon. Kind of iffy right now because we're not sure exactly what's happening underneath the storm, and it's because we're just so close to the radar. You don't want to be too close or too far with the radar. You want to be just right. So, with the angles. So, again, just continuing to watch things here. Continuing to monitor them. I know that's why it's good to have more radars. But you can't be right at the radar, but just a little ways away, you're at a good optimal distance to get about the best data you can get. So that's something to keep in mind. You can't be too far away though, because then you're not going to get good enough data. So it's kind of a sweet spot there, just like with a baseball bat, something like that. So again, continue to watch things here in the Weather Center. I know we're continuing to give you guys the latest here. I know. Looking at our different scans. Let's go back to the broad view. I see a little bit of something in Union County now. I'll just switched over more to Bradford, but we'll see what's going on here. You see south of Lake Butler, you see around Worthington Springs, some pretty nasty weather. I don't think we have an advisory on this right now, but could still have a little bit of gusty winds coming in here over the next little bit in Bradford County. So something to keep in mind as we watch this. I know if you're looking from like areas in Gilchrist County further down, you see Bell's looking okay. It's up to the west. Trenton is up to the west. We'll have to watch that. Nothing overwhelming right now, but it's still warm down here. 90 Cross City, 92 Gainesville. Everybody really going to be focusing on the whole country is on Trenton tonight, because could end up having the #1 pick in the Major League Baseball draft coming out of Trenton, Florida, in Gilchrist County. Wyatt Langford could be that #1 pick here later tonight. Major League Baseball draft 2023. So that could be a pretty big deal, trying to make North Central Florida cloudy. I mean, doesn't matter, top 1 pick, top 3, top 5. Still doing that, of course. Even though I'm an FSU fan, and FSU, graduated from FSU, still great to see folks out of North Central Florida do well here, like him there from Southern Gilchrist County, from that area, from Trenton, went to high school in Trenton, went to the University of Florida, and led them to the College World Series runner-up position this year. Going ahead and giving you guys a view here right now on the Doppler radar. You can see right now as we look at the scans, looking there toward areas there, Lakeland over toward Moody Air Force Base. You can see giving you guys a visual on what's going on around Lanier County. We're just going to keep checking things here. I'm hoping this is weakening. I really am. We can't really tell right now. We're in a blinder spot, per se. I mean, because we're so low down. I mean, we didn't get as high of a number on Moody's side as I would have thought, which is good. It just got a site here at Regional Airport at 20. Not all that high, so maybe that's some good news. You never know. You never know here. Be nice if it was some good news. Okay, so they're giving us an update now. Jacksonville, this is a positive update, really positive. Okay, so they're saying the Valdosta site, their Moody's site, the inbound velocities have weakened slightly as the storm pushes into Clinton Eccles. So far, they're going to hold off with more than just a special weather statement where we have the winds of 45 to 55 and that. But they're going to monitor trends of any cooling in the IR there, the cloud tops, the infrared, like the original storm. So maybe, let's see if they're actually, I thought they might have been implying that, but to read that more so, maybe not. If we kind of cool under the cloud tops, that'd be great, because we've had, oh yeah, I think we are getting some of that cooling now. A little bit, because we have 60, almost 62 degrees, negative 62 degrees Celsius here on some of these earlier on. 64, and let's see what we had here. Yeah, we had at least some pixels here that go back. Negative 68 degrees Celsius. Cool cloud top, stronger storm is what I mean by that. But not a big change, but it's a change, definitely. So that's interesting. That's a positive trend. If we're heading that direction, that'd be great. That'd be great here. So again, just continuing to watch things. We're just going to keep checking the latest scans, latest information as it comes on in to protect you, your friends, and your family. Again, hopefully it'll be a sign that we're going to wrap this soon. Heads up though, around Stark. Not severe, not an advisory in play, but with the history of the storms today, couldn't run a gust of 40 around Stark here in Keystone to the next little bit. You see parts of southern Union County right now in Florida. I see warnings across the country, but southern Union in Florida, this lightning threat here, Worthington Springs, and this is generally looks like it's moving east, maybe a little southerly component. So maybe it focuses toward Hampton and that area. We'll see, but Bradford County, nonetheless, some of us going to be getting into that here over the next little bit. Got some bad news now. Nationally, blast foot emergency issued. I was kind of thinking this might happen here. Catastrophic blast foot emergency situation now in New York State. Portions of the lower Hudson Valley. We don't get these up here very often. I gotta say here, probably last time we had them, and we had a lot, was back there during the hurricane there a couple years ago. Going back in that timeline now, a couple years to the hurricane that tracked from the Gulf Coast there all the way through Ida there. So bad. Just catastrophic there now. Catastrophic danger, at least for portions of the lower Hudson Valley. This warning now till 8 o'clock. Southeastern Orange County in New York, Western Putnam County, Rockland County, and North Westchester County. So at 5:01, Doppler radar indicated heavy rain across the warned area. Between 5 and 8 inches of rain have fallen, which is a lot for that type of setup there. Geographically, topography-wise, the ground soils. Urban areas involved with the concrete in play. That's too much rain. 5 to 8 inches of rain. Around here, you can handle it sometimes, but there, not so much. The 22 inches in an hour expected. Flash flooding already occurring. Particularly dangerous situation. New City, Peekskill. Let's see if I'm trying to pronounce these here because this is so serious. A catastrophic threat here in New York State, which we don't get very often. This is in the New York television market. Not New York City, but New York television market, really, when we talk about some of these counties. Again, New York State, Orange, Putnam, Rockland, and Westchester. So some of these cities now, again, trying to pronounce these. New City is easy, of course, but then Peekskill, I believe is how you pronounce that. Go over some of these. We'll skip around. Monroe, West Point, Cold Spring, Harriman, Spring Valley, Stony Point, Putnam Valley. Some of these here I'm just kind of skipping around. But Woodbury, Chestnut Ridge, you kind of get the idea. So a serious situation, life-threatening emergency national storyline in New York State, a catastrophic threat, lower Hudson Valley, flash flood emergency, basement flooding there, Highland Mills area, West Point, 293, New York 293 is closed due to flooding in both directions. A portion of US 6 has collapsed in the traffic circle west of the Palisades Interstate Parkway. Fire departments responding to a vehicle trapped in floodwaters at the Lone Mountain Parkway traffic circle. The base of it looks like the I'm gonna try to pronounce this here. Poplin, I guess, Arch Bridge. I apologize if I mispronounced that. Being washed out. Fire department has closed it due to safety concerns, and then 2 people trapped. Really getting the vehicle submerged in floodwaters on Eagle Valley Road. So not good stuff there. We just got some new information in. Not going to stop on this map, but one other map. That storm coming into Bradford now has an advisory on it. Not a warning. Not something we have to stick with necessarily, but now an advisory. So we're talking about a scenario here. We could have gusts around 40 through about 5:45. Gust around 40, not out of the question here. Not getting an overwhelming signature, but we're getting some of our scans. They suggest gust around 40. Possible around Stark here over the next 30 minutes, give or take. So at 5:05, Doppler is tracking strong thunderstorms along a line extending from Beasley to Worthington Springs. Movement was east at 30 miles an hour. Stark, Lake Butler, Rayford, Worthington Springs, Groves, Beasley, New River, Kingsley, and Sampson. So if you're outdoors, consider seeking shelter inside a building. We have some lightning there showing up in eastern Union County. So whenever thunder roars, go indoors for sure. But sometimes in these storms today, you don't have to have much lightning. You still got to be inside, away from windows, because that threads trees and some of those coming on down. So don't have that audio type of warning as much. I mean, you hear the wind blowing, but not as much of a heads up. Unfortunately, see gusted earlier, Lake City. Let's see what else we have for you. Okay, I think I want to try to pull up our camera. We can. We have our camera looking back to the west on this. Oh, there you go. That's a good view. That's a good view of that. Looking here, we're in the area just east of Stark, and we're looking back towards Stark and toward the west there. So again, you see the dark clouds here in play. You see the nastier conditions. The conditions deteriorating there west of Stark. So again, that's kind of what we're dealing with right now along US 301 here pretty soon. I mean, some of the accents popping up, but around State Road 100 right now, some of this is what we're seeing on this camera. It has a little bit of south tilt where we're at. It probably is kind of all, it's not exact with this, but it's mainly due, I say mainly due west, but mainly west, but a little bit south here on that. So again, we're in here. Well, this is the mouse. We're in here per se. This general area here is where we're looking. And then you can see this is a storminess out here. And then as you look, this is State Road 100. And then you kind of are looking probably down in here a little bit. So kind of in here. So giving you guys an idea of what we're doing with the overall correlation. So back to the view we go. You can see the darker skies may not stay on because we have a situation where we may not keep warnings further up in Georgia. We wouldn't get a warning for this right now. We're just on the edge of advisory, but give you the heads up of obviously in lieu of posting a Facebook post about a radar image about what's coming. We're giving that to you right now verbally. But we're already on for the other storms. We wouldn't talk about it, but you see the trees blowing a little. Got some other storming. It's not just the area to the west, but got some other storming that's here in the advisory polygons. So again, significant weather advisory now, including Stark, Hampton, Lodi, here through about 5:45. So we're going to be watching that. As you're looking at the Sampson New River there, nasty weather about to be coming on through over the next little bit. I know these winds are not overwhelming, but they're getting up there just a bit. 38, 41. Showing up right here. So west, southwest of New River. So you have New River, you have Sampson, you have Stark here. Over the next little bit. Again, we're in Bradford County. That's where we broadcast from. That's where I graduated from high school from and went to school there and through the years. And just trying to give you guys the latest right now to keep you guys informed. So protect you, your friends, and your family. So we'll go ahead and zoom back out. And we still have the warnings to the north. Let's see what they look like now that we're starting to get away. I'm really hoping that this stuff here as we're looking, we're not going to see a big surge once we get past the radar here with the wind. As we get the latest scans in, this gets more into the advisory here that Jacksonville issued versus the warning Tallahassee issued. Different meteorologists, different group, but same organization, National Weather Service issues warnings. But these are issued by Tallahassee. These counties, Lowndes, Lanier, Tallahassee counties. Let me go over to a view X. I think I might have heard some thunder just now where we're at. But we got a covered map. I'll break it down. I don't have like a cursor to put on this. But so we have Lowndes and let's try that again. Lowndes and Lanier. Those are counties where you have Tallahassee issuing warnings. Eccles and Clinch, Jacksonville issues warnings. Berry and Tallahassee. Atkinson, Jacksonville. So kind of the delineation there. In Florida, that delineation Madison's for Tallahassee County, Hamilton and Jacksonville County. So is Swanee. They're also in Jacksonville County. But as we look over toward Lafayette, that's a Tallahassee County. Taylor's a Tallahassee County. But Gilchrist is Jacksonville. Dixie's a Tallahassee. But then Levy's an outlier. They're a Tampa, Ruskin office county. So we have 3 in total. But all the counties except for Levy, Tallahassee, or Jacksonville. That's how it goes with the warnings. But we covered a 62 on air. Giving you guys the latest. We're in Bradford, the highlighted one. Back to the other view we go. You can see here, trying to give you the latest. That looks a lot weaker. Again, I want to be sure they haven't dropped them out to the west yet, and we have the storm coming our way now. Still see his numbers to 40 in here. I'm hoping that's all we're getting, but can't guarantee it as it moves into clinch. Okay, things are getting pretty rocky here on the Moody site view of Bradford. Not a lot of lightning, but a lot of heavy downpours coming in, and wind might be going up just a tad. Not a lot, though. But a tad. New River there. Out toward New River, out toward Sampson there. Yeah, the lake area, and I don't even in the lake right now with this nastier weather coming into play. I mean, you're already getting some of it because it's building on us. I mean, that's really building. Just the last, look how quick that built, folks, and that's the last scan. We got this developing right over us now, so you don't have any time if you're in Stark, obviously. Probably already have the rain starting to fall, but if you're east side, we don't have the rain yet here. It's about to start falling. Get inside, do it now. I mean, you don't want to get caught in a downpour. I'm saying this because I'm here. I'm not saying it because it's really, really bad, but you don't want to get wet is what I'm saying. If you don't want to get wet, you want to get inside around the country club here and things and areas like that. Areas like those. Let's go to our camera. So let's go ahead and pop that back. See the trees blowing now. See the cloud. You don't see the color now because we're about to begin in the precip. You can't see those colors very much in the cloud cover. See those trees at a gust of 30 earlier. Just at a gust of 12 miles an hour just now on our anemometer. Looking at it live here. So again, rapid development here. And I hear the rain. That's really rapid. Maybe you'll hear that in the background now. So you can see what we're talking about. Trees blowing, the rain coming down, not overwhelming, but rain. I mean, that water there coming from the sky, that'll get you wet. You don't want to be in a suit outside and something like this. Okay, good news, Tallahassee just canceled Burial Lanier and Lowndes, and then Lanier and Lowndes, which is some good news. We don't have any warnings now for the moment across the area, but we have this here right on us around Stark. So let's go back on over to the view. We're going to stick with a few more moments at least. Let's just see how things kind of evolve. That really came, I mean, there's one scan. I mean, that's 5:05. We just started to see a little bit of that in our head, and now look, 5:10 we have it coming right into town here, folks. You don't have any notice, really, of that development. That I bet his EDRs are just really building on. Oh, my goodness, look at that. I mean, I'm not saying this because it's like a warning situation. It's just the meteorology fascination of it. Really here in terms of just this upscale growth. You don't see that often. That's really building up quick. You're just building up quick here. So, again, type of situation that's pretty interesting here. Again, we're going to go ahead and you just see all that upscale growth. It's very interesting. I might get to another severe threat later as it gets hopefully past us in Bradford County. Hopefully past the whole area in the water. But again, continuing to watch things. Might be having trouble hearing me almost because this rain's pretty heavy right now. So making sure we're talking pretty loud here in the weather center. Again, no warnings now. We got rid of the warnings to the north. As I hear thunder down here. Let's go to the camera then. Let's get back to our camera, our live camera. You see the trees blowing some. Looking at our winds here, not as high maybe as a moment ago, but that rain's really coming down. Really coming down now. It's really built up quickly. Look at that. Look at it going sideways. Look at that. Saw that going sideways there. We don't get that very often on our live camera right out here by the studio. That's some really nasty wind. Just got to guess to 17 miles an hour there. Just now, I mean, that's just something that's just coming in here, folks, to the weather center. Just now, it got to 17, and you can hear that coming on down here. Temperatures still in the 80s, but they're going to fall quick. Again, a gust live just now, an anemometer to 17 miles an hour. So, again, some nasty conditions here right now in Bradford County. So, again, you can see that really coming down, the rain kind of stuff. You saw how things were going sideways. I don't think I've seen that on our camera since we've had it there like that. You saw a little bit of almost like just a really odd pattern there for a moment. Hopefully that was the worst of it, but still be inside right now. Still gonna have lightning develop with all that ZDR indicating the upscale growth there. That storm building, probably gonna get some lightning here. Don't haven't had much today, but still can't take chances here. Can't take chances. You can see here what we're talking about. So again, there's your live view. There's your live view here in Bradford County. Giving you that live look at the overall scenario there. Let's go back to Doppler. Look at all that purple there. I mean, this is very quick, folks. Very rapid. I mean, again, that was 12 minutes ago. We didn't have much. We had it back here. And all of a sudden, look there, and it's just filled in rapidly. I mean, again, that is extraordinary in terms of just the meteorology fascination part of it. Don't see that all that often here, especially when we have the established boundary back to the west like this. I mean, it's not something that just popped up back to the west here like we generally have in summertime. So, just interested in that meteorological fascination of it. I mean, you see, and then all I think we had some things merging there on us, which not quite so well. We saw that the other day, but with the more established boundary, it's definitely interesting to see how things just came right together over Stark. So you can see here where the lightning strike. I think we heard the thunder from a moment ago. Getting more towards Lowndes County, now 429 Cecil area, through down near Highway 41 and Brigman Road. He highway through down near Union Road and Brookridge Drive around 4:31 p.m. So let's go ahead and go back on over to the camera again. Again, just continuing to watch things, continuing to monitor the situation. Don't have any warnings anymore. I'm ready to wrap it up, but because we have this storm right over Stark, I mean, we may have extra viewers joining us for this situation since we're still on. It's right over us. I'll stick with you a little longer. So again, you can see the wind's blowing around here on the camera right now. Another gust there into the teens as I look, and I'm going to just step away. My anemometer's right behind me. I wanted to see if we got a peak gust any higher than 17 in this event. So give me about 30 seconds. Okay, just checking my anemometer now, and we did get a gust of 26 miles an hour. I had to do a little bit of a function on there because we had a peak to 30, so we didn't have anything surpassing 30 from earlier. We just had a gust of 26 in this event with the rain rolling. Look at that blowing. This might be gusting pretty high again. "20 miles an hour, folks. Just the gust is now to 20 miles an hour on the anemometer. But keep in mind, I know those don't sound impressive, but it's lower down to the ground. It's just not too much taller than me. I mean, I have to get on a ladder to get to it barely, but step stool type thing. But the point being is that winds, if you had one that's a little higher up, you'd be getting even stronger type of numbers that we generally track across the area and higher. So to get these type of numbers on that, they're definitely getting that wind down to the surface. Might get a few power outages here. So again, some pretty nasty winds as we're watching live right now here in the Weather Center. Live in the Weather Center right now. That window of the world. You don't move by the window right now, but we're giving that window view to use here live on the air. So again, gust there in that 20, 25 range. Not enough to report to the Weather Service. I mean, if we had it up a little higher, I might get some that were enough that we needed to report to them, but really more once you get about 40 or so. In a severe type of setup or in a tropical setup, maybe a little bit higher even in some ways. But I mean, we had gusts. The only times we had tropical force gusts here were during the cold, 41, 42 miles an hour. Those are the highest we've had. One in the 2.5 years we've had that anemometer. Again, continuing to watch things. Watching things live on the air here in the Weather Center. Let's go back to Doppler because I know we're east of Stark. You guys want to see the rest of the view. There's the view live there, and you can see some of the winds. Again, looking live right now, 29, 27 miles an hour. Again, that's what we're seeing on velocity, and that's not far off of what we just saw on our anemometer. So very interesting. You still hear the rain probably in the background of the microphone. So again, still coming down. It kind of caused that other area. I mean, you kind of saw that conglomerating kind of caused the other area to fall off some. This leading edge here has kind of become more dominant here now. This leading area, so that'll get past and won't be quite as strong here pretty soon. That just really rapidly. I mean, we're on the air talking, and then all of a sudden things just came right together, right over town. You see, it gets to 31 there at a 5:15 at Keystone. So that's one reason we're not like Roy is hyping up the numbers. We're getting there a little lower, so we're not like reporting the weather service because these aren't something Roy. One day, hopefully we don't get it, but one day could have one that's more overwhelming and something we need to report. But again, I mean, you're getting numbers a little bit higher there at the airport. Their side would be a little higher up, obviously. I mean, it's elevated, elevation 197 feet. So, again, just to kind of tell you the storyline there with things. You can kind of see the wind enhancement here in Bradford County right now. So, again, we haven't had anything surpass 30 here today. 26 in the last 10 minutes, still the peaks. So that's kind of the storyline there. See some stuff. Is that a little bit of wind around McClenny? Looks like we're starting to get some development there. Strong storm still. Clint County, Georgia. Not severe right now. We'll watch around Homerville. Just at 34 there at 5:15. Hope we don't have to come back on, but it's definitely not out of the realm of possibilities. Rain slacking off some now in that latest look outside. So again, something to kind of bear in mind here as we're looking and kind of moving past here. Just kind of trying to give you guys a visual on things. Trying to give you guys a visual on things here in the weather center. I'm seeing some things on that storm area in Clinton County that are a little more interesting. I wouldn't say maybe it's not a definite type of warning situation right now, I wouldn't say, but because these pixels, we're getting some out here that are closer to severe now again, but they're kind of out ahead. So this lower high, that it is a little concerning the more I look at it, because I mean these scans getting progressively stronger as if it's just being obscured by the radar beam, and they might have to pull the trigger under the warning. This will be a more rural area though, and that probably should preclude us here. But at this point, I'm coming back on. We just post about the warning up here, I would say, unless something really escalated with like a more considerable one. We're obviously a tornado warning. We're not seeing rotation with this, but again, you can see this is going to be moving around US 441 here in the next few moments. From Clinton to Ware and into Charlton County. So we'll be watching that corridor here, but that's really rural out here. I mean, Okefenokee Swamp, and you have US 1. So if you need a heads up, we'll get another warning. We're probably just going to post about it. If it's that one to the south, maybe a different story because it's more population. Clay Duval, if we get South Baker, in that general zone, that might be something we have to come on. But if we get another warning out here, I think we'll just post about it. If it's out in this area here, because we've been giving you a heads up for a while about it. If we start getting into this area out here, that might be a different story depending on the scans. It really depends on those too. But these numbers are getting close to 58, so they may be about to issue. That looks like that's some development. Yeah, that's development on the leading edge now. So it's developing over where the winds are. That's probably going to push that down and become a warning for parts of Clinton, Ware, and Charlton. But again, this is some pretty rural area. Rural areas out here, very rural. So that's the good news about that. That precludes coverage for a while, probably. I mean, this tracks from some of the stuff earlier, but might preclude coverage. Hopefully, even by the time it got east, maybe it'll weaken. So that's the heads up there. So I think we're close to wrapping it now, even though we make another warning in Georgia. We kind of explained that out here pretty good, I think. Again, calming down here right quickly. Where we're at for now, may get a little bit more. You see some stuff still around, but it's not as heavy as that leading edge. And then that national storyline, a catastrophic, and I don't use that word lightly, flash flooding emergency now across parts of Orange, Putnam, Rockland, and Westchester counties in southeastern New York State, the lower Hudson Valley. There were 5 to 8 inches of rain have fallen. A really big story. You see that yellow area? I mean, that's indicative of inches of rain close to 8 there. Catastrophic potential. Probably already seen some of that really with vehicles trapped. At least the report there in flood waters at the Lone Mountain Parkway traffic circle. Portion of US 6 has collapsed in the traffic circle near the area west of the Palisades Interstate Parkway. So that's bad stuff. 8 inches of rain in that yellow area. That's there. You see just south of Highland Falls there, excuse me. So that's the storyline. There's your rain. We just got a new advisory. That was 12-hour rain. Let me not jump over that too much. We're going to start going in Georgia. That's why some of that stuff's been a little bit stronger, more durable up there for a while. But we got a new advisory in Georgia, so maybe, hadn't quite popped up on here yet, but maybe we'll get lucky here. Maybe we'll get lucky here and they won't have to issue another warning. But this is for parts of Clinton, where in Charlton, till 6:15 are going 45 to 55 miles an hour on the gusts. Waycross, kind of, but there's a box. Homerville, right now, kind of. Argyle, Boggy Bay Manor, Brigands, and Needham. So, it'd be a good idea to think so. There's a sturdy building still. They renewed Roy advisory because of the updraft intensity in the storms. We're starting to see that evolve. So, no warning yet. Good news, but could get one. And if we get one, we'll probably just be posting about it because it's very rural territory. But we're giving you the heads up right now. Some of the areas, of course, we're posting about it on Facebook, Casey Cloud Reacts, Facebook Cloud Weather, and then Twitter at Cloud Casey. But coming on, if needed, again, YouTube Cloud Weather. We have Twitch there, Cloud Weather, and we have cloudweather.com, the interactive radar is well available there. So I think we're going to do it. I've been on with this one for over 3 hours straight, which is pretty extraordinary considering what we've had to deal with. I mean, not just completely overwhelming, but storms that were verifiable type of severe threats. So we needed to be on with you to guide you through things, and that's what we've been doing here this afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning in and trusting me for now. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center. Again, you have the website at cloudweather.com. That interactive radar is available there, and we'll be back if necessary.